All right, guys, you know what time it is. That's right, it's time for the SpaceBro Show. And we're going to get right into it. We didn't separate everybody's pictures because, you know, hey, that's the way it works here. We're going to do it. Enjoy it.
I got it.
Hello.
Hello.
It's a Luke.
Hello. You're just on. Now.
Hello.
That's why we
Oh, we're on?
You're on. Hi.
Oh, hi.
What?
Hi.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Oh, shit.
I got
Hi.
it just in time.
You
Hi.
guys could recognize everybody here. We went for a supersize episode and we had some media screw up. So this is the recovery, but this is it. So we have, of course, the few
Oh,
up in the top corner.
wow.
There you
This is beautiful.
Is it lovely? Do you like it? And then we got Toy phasing in and out there in the middle. So Toy can wave. And then we got drones over there in the bottom corner, just so you get totally confused the order I'm calling everybody's name. And then we got Scorpion. So welcome everybody. Hi. We'll work on tweaking Toy's camera there. And all
Yeah,
that.
what the hell? Let's see if I can
I
totally
won't touch
mess it up.
anything until you finish adjusting where
There we go.
Hey, look, it looks
See, I
good now.
fixed it.
Yeah, all right. Just kick it a little, right?
Just keep my hand
Just
on
kick
it,
a little.
right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Hold your finger there for the next 2 hours, and everything will work beautifully. Beautifully, I tell you. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to be focusing on our usual, the whole weekly review that we always do. We are going to be trying to do some episodes. We're going to be stress testing Discord a little more. I think we're going to start doing some 5, maybe even 6-person episodes for a little bit. Just give some more perspective, some more people involved, and a
Yay.
little fun. So
Make them run longer.
yeah, why not?
Mm.
I like how you shrink yourself down to the corner of your green screen, so now you're like
Hi.
little Luke over there.
I'm a little tiny over here.
Donate now and help little Luke grow up to be a big
Oh
boy.
my God. Wow.
Well, if we made it smaller, we could all like hang out at the bottom of your screen together.
We could.
It'd probably look better.
But I know you guys would do all that, so I'm not moving all the boxes now.
We would fight each other.
You would do something. You would do something. The next scene's a little better than that one anyway.
Oh, okay.
Because I had to make them a certain size to wrap around all the media stuff. But this is
Oh, okay.
This is what we're doing now. We got new panels coming, so
Ooh.
they're in the works. But we fired 2 artists so far, so we're still working on it.
Wow.
Well,
It's a perfection.
I don't know what it is. If you ask somebody for something, if they can't do it, they should just say they can't do it, right?
Sure.
Not say,
Sure.
hey, I know you asked for this, but I'm going to do this instead. Pay me. I'm like, no, I'm not going to. So that's just the way it works. So let's go around the room, see how everybody's week's been, what's been going on and all that stuff. We'll start out with little Luke.
Hi.
You need a voice change. Hi, guys.
Hello.
What's been going on, man? How's your week been? What's been happening? All that stuff.
Yeah, it's been kind of a crazy week. It's been a good week. Obviously started off the week Sunday releasing a new video to the internet.
Yep.
That I
I
guess
saw
got
that.
some,
Duper
got some
epic
traction.
video. That was so good, man.
Yeah, it was fun. A lot of fun to make. We made it with SpaceBros. We made it with Phantom Killer and Moist Noodle. Helped out both of them, so it was really great. That was fun. See, I got a new stream PC just today.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
I was.
Nice. What'd you get?
Just like I was calling it a mid tier, but then
I'm
chat
playing your
was like-
video anyway for you on the screen.
Okay.
I know you can't see it, but it's playing there.
I could see it on Twitch, but yeah. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was running a laptop and the fan was kind of starting to make noise, and I was thinking my laptop was gonna have some trouble soon. So
Yeah.
I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna replace it with a desktop anyways because it'll be easier for me to maintain.
Absolutely.
So,
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's a pretty beefy stream PC, but not like it's like an 8700K with like 16 gigs of memory and then like a 2800, not a TI, but like a 2800, just like whatever. It was just like a $1,600 like PC. So I got it pre-made from CyberPower. So
That's cool.
Nice.
yep,
Cool.
yeah. But unfortunately, I just had to like reconfigure everything on my stream, and there's still a lot of stuff that's done. So you know how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
So how many hours did you put in this video? I'm just curious.
It
we're on
wasn't
the
that. It wasn't that bad. It
You
was
got some
like
great camera work in it. I will totally compliment you guys on getting some great footage on the camera work because you were able to recreate a lot of scenes that I remember it just being very familiar. You know, it's like it looks really fun. Like you had a really good time doing it.
Yeah. Like some of them, there's a lot of mistakes that I had in the shots that I knew I had done, but I was just like, it looks good even with the mistakes, so I just kind of like ran with it. But like, we didn't take very long. I mean, it was still a long time, but we writing the script. We didn't write the script, but like we storyboarded it first.
Yeah.
So we kind of like, okay, which scenes out of Top Gun do we want to do? And I storyboarded the whole thing by myself because it was easier that way. So I just picked a whole bunch of scenes that I thought were feasible to do with the current game. There was a lot of scenes I wanted to do. I wanted to do the flip bird scene, right, where they're upside down.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be able to pull that off and do it justice in the game. I wanted to do a couple scenes where they're sitting down and talking to each other, but FOIP is like completely borked at the moment, so you can't have two people talking at the same time in the same scene, right? So there's a lot of things I wanted to do that just weren't supported. So I was like, look, we're going to do the scenes that we know we can do really well, and that was this scene, right? There's one thing I think I wanted to add in the end that I didn't, but overall it turned out really well. So I think we ended up, I would guess between Fam and I, it was probably 60 hours at least combined work. So it's actually significant. Yeah.
Let's go to right camera order. Click button. There you go. All right. Yeah, great job though. I found it. It was really cool that it got picked up by which was it
PC Gamer.
PC Gamer.
Yeah.
Gamer grabbed it. Like they retweeted it even before. Like they wrote an article retweeted for Star Citizen. Like CIG even noticed. Like, oh wait, it was so good, man. I was like, that was really nice.
Yeah, it was really good.
Well done.
Good job. So I just wanted to get that right off the jump because I know it's not really necessarily part of the what we do with the weekly review, but you guys did such great work on that. I was really impressed, and I can't wait for you guys to do the next one. So because I want to come play too. That's so good. I want to.
Yeah,
Hopefully 3.4 we'll see FOIP dialed in a little more where it's more consistent because we had it working really well inside the PTU, right, in the previous build when we were testing it. And then it seems like when it went live, FOIP just kind of broke again a little bit. You can still see it yourself really well, but between communicating between people, it's been really buggy. So, anywho, so let's go over here. Let's go to the next person in the upper echelon row at a full size Scorpion 66.
Oh, that's me.
That's you.
Yeah.
So, what have you had going on?
You know, I've been busy with work mainly. I mean, I got this purple check mark thing, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened. So that was pretty cool. So that was fun. That was a fun evening. That was last Friday. That was actually a week ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think so. I had traveled last week on Wednesday, flew out west on Wednesday, had some bunch of meetings all day Thursday, flew back here on Friday, and then kind of streamed Friday night. And yeah, and then all of a sudden, a lot of my chat started going crazy, and a bunch of crazy stuff in there with like graphics and stuff. And it took me a minute, and then I finally figured out that all the people in there had wrenches next to their names. So it was a bunch of Twitch people coming in there and spamming stuff. So told me to check my email.
I was sitting in there.
Yeah, Toy was there
when it came in.
What?
It was really
I never got any, like, I heard, like, that happened to you, that happened to everybody that I've talked to got partner. Like, never happened to me. Nobody came in with, hey, partner.
No, I didn't either. I had one person, I think Hype Beast, came into my chat, and just when I was under review, and he came in there, like, once or twice, and I kind of saw him lurking, and then he went away. And I was like, because I was rejected, I don't know, what was it, like 2 times? I can't remember. I think it was the 3rd time when I got it. So 2 times I was rejected and all that stuff. But it, like, he was in there a little bit. So I was like, oh, they're just reviewing the thing. No big deal. And then nothing happened, you know. And then I got an email telling me that I was partnered. There's no celebratory parade. There was no, like, chain of people. I was like, oh. I was like, so we'll get a check mark or something soon. Awesome. You know?
Yeah,
well, they were like donating bits to him.
Yeah, they were, man. It was fun. They said, hey, check your email. So I checked my email. Like Glitched in Orbit had just hosted me, and so she was in there. So it was really fun. It was a fun event. Yeah. So everything's back to normal now. I traveled all this week, flew out Monday, came back last night. So anyway, so it's been kind of busy travel the last week and a half or so. So I'm looking forward to this weekend, kind of chilling out and trying to get back into the swing of things. But it's been good. Today, I played Star Citizen a little bit on stream, and all the missions worked, which was the first time that's happened to me now, like in months.
Yeah.
Like Reco worked, the box stuff worked, like
Game's
everything
been running really good overall. For me.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it's
was
been running.
Definitely has.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's me.
Yep. Congratulations, though, on getting partnered.
Thank you very much.
Man. Also,
Definitely.
big shout out to Tickles. He couldn't be here tonight, obviously, because him and the missus are doing their thing and stuff. So, it's her birthday, right? Is it her birthday?
I thought it was birthday. Yeah.
I think it's birthday. So happy birthday to Miss Tickles and all that stuff. But definitely congratulations also to Sergeant Tickles on partnership.
Yep.
Awesome. I'm sure we'll be getting him on the show next week and be talking about that as well. But it's really cool. Basically, getting 2 team members partnered at the same time is really cool. Just shows like how hard everybody's been hammering it and working it and all that stuff. So it's really good, man. It's amazing. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's go over to Mr. Drones.
Hello.
Mr. Drones, how has your week been? What's been going on with you?
Week's been good. I'm officially another year older. Yay. But anyway, no, not much. Just usual stream schedule. I did get a partnership with a company called Stream.Gifts, so been hanging out doing that. Got a Stream Deck and a Twitch pillow from viewers. So it's been awesome, man. Been a cool week. Just kind of chill week though.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you've been doing a lot of work on things in the background too, and kind of getting things going there. So I know between RL work and then the RL Twitch work, I mean, you're burying yourself, but all that hard work will pay off. I know it will.
Thank you.
So
Oh, Wolf's in chat. Wolf, thank you for the Stream Deck, Wolf.
There you go. Use it well. I love the Stream Deck. That's a big
Dude,
I
don't know how I survived without it, but
I have 2, and I'll tell you what, the second one is so great for gameplay emotes. It is. I don't know. I want to get a third. I'd so bad.
Yeah.
Did you see?
Did you see the tweet? With okay, you saw the giant.
I retweeted that too. The giant one, like they're trolling about, like somebody put up a photoshopped one where they mocked up like a Stream Deck like this big with like 40 buttons on it or something. Like I was like, I want that in my life. It's so good. So,
dude, if they made that big one,
yeah,
but it's tiny. It's got like what, 6
Well,
buttons on it? What
I
the hell are you
some
gonna do?
people don't have the desk real estate.
Well, that's also designed for like lack of sight button. So like I guess like if you don't have to look at it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can feel the button.
And I have the one thing I wish they would have did. I know it's totally off topic, but with that small one, if they would have made it a desk mount where you can mount it like underneath your desk, like what they do, the lift buttons on the lift stand desks here, like we have. If they would have made it right there, the 6 buttons for like a touch thing, I would have been all into it. But 6 buttons and then have it on a stand on top of your desk just didn't make sense to me. But I'm sure it does for some people's setup because they don't have a lot of them still. They don't want all that. I just wish it was mountable because then 6 buttons make sense to me. I'd use it a lot of places if I could like hard mount it somewhere. So I don't know. But anyway, but yeah, cool stuff. But yeah, it's like, so I have every emote that's key binded. I've been trying to get on the Stream Deck, but there's with the key binds of Star Citizen, we know they use so many controls for ships and stuff. It gets kind of convoluted for it. So
For sure. More keys.
Yeah, definitely so.
We just need one button on our chest that we can mount like right here. You can't see it because I'm like way down below. That way, when somebody calls you on comms in the game, you can just be like, beep, beep. Hi.
So much criticism in chat. They say it sounds like I'm underwater. It sounds like I'm quieter than everybody else.
Hey, the few.
Hello?
I don't know.
Just need to get you one.
We need to have a button.
But
like
they've been clear.
Oh, yeah.
They can hear me and Scorp, so this is fine.
What about me?
Yeah, hear everybody but me. It's just my problem, apparently. Here, let me turn everybody else really down.
No.
There, is that better? Now we can focus on the most important subject of the show, me. And we can just go from that point. And then now, hey, there you go. See, approval in chat. Perfect. Everybody's... I wouldn't do that to you guys. All right. Anyway, so definitely good things coming there. So good to hear, Drones, that you're charging forward and doing that. So let's talk to Toy.
Thank you.
Our own personal late night guru of strumming.
Yeah.
So he's our late night guy. How's things been going for you, Toy, and the channel and everything? You've been pulling some really good numbers. It seems solid.
Yeah, it's been really nice having, I don't like streaming when I don't have people talking in chat. I love the active chat. And lately, man, it has just been on fire in my chat at nighttime. So that just keeps me streaming, 9, 12 hours or whatever. Normally I want to get on there for a couple hours and I'm like, I can't get off. These guys are talking and asking questions.
Yep.
But, I've found out that I am the worst space miner in Star Citizen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might give you a run for your money.
Oh, no. I spent like 6 hours one night, found one rock, and it was one of those rocks that you needed 2 ships to mine. And while I was waiting for one of my buddies to come over and help me, I got out and died on. And then it wouldn't even let me see my ship to get back to it.
Ladders are deadly in this game on the Prospector. They're super bad. Yeah, you got to watch out for that for sure.
It was so, and I've been broke. I went over and I tried to do a Widow run, so I fold up my entire thing with Widow, wiped out the door, and got shot. I was like at 4 credits.
Never fill up.
That was
4 credits for a week.
That was a bad idea.
So it's been fun.
That's a bad idea. Yeah, we've had a big debate, and I would like to refer you, Mr. Grubbin. Perhaps maybe you need to go over and watch this video made by this.
I've heard about this video.
This really intelligent individual here, who he basically was asked about how to mine on stream, and then he made a special tutorial live moment there telling people how to mine, and I found it was excellent quality. So you can find that on Matachi's YouTube.
My chat has mentioned it.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't really need to make it a tutorial, and then everybody started bugging me about clipping it and everything because they said it was pretty decent. I was like, okay, so I just pushed it out to YouTube.
Your mistake isn't as bad as the one I did a couple days ago. Wednesday night, I was some cargo runs between 2 different locations, Port Olisar and whatever, doesn't matter. And I'd landed at a location at a place, and I filled up my Drake Cutlass with 160,000 Alpha UEC, I think, of cargo.
Wow.
And then I got back into my Cutlass, and I was going to take off, and it had like what it said, 0 fuel. And I was like, oh, how do I have 0 fuel? I can't take off. My ship's busted. I'm screwed. Like, what am I going to do?
Everybody's done that.
Right?
Yeah. Everybody's done that lately.
So then we blew the ship up, and like all 160,000, whatever, went away. But then after we blew the ship up, I realized I think I just had my engines off.
Oh,
because it always shows 0 fuel. It always shows 0 fuel when your engines are off.
Oh, wow.
Big or go home, huh, Luke?
That's funny.
Wow.
Anyways, that's probably the biggest fail of the week.
Wow. Yeah. Well, at least it wasn't full of Becks or anything. That would have been a mess.
Yeah.
No, we had I can't remember if it was Tim Mack or who it was, one of the guys, because they've been out there mining. Like, they didn't realize about that either, and they had a full ship. It was classy, actually. Had a full ship full of ore and everything, and they didn't realize that it burns that boost fuel while you're hovering all the time. So
yeah.
I just did that. I spent hours mining Bexelite, and then I went to leave and immediately fell to the ground. I'm like, oh, about that fuel thing.
I don't think it consumes either as much or any at all if you're in landing mode most of the time.
Am I wrong to think that, a 25% warning would be great? I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, they have the 75% warning. They say 75% fuel use.
And they do a 50.
I didn't get shit for a warning.
And they give you a 50% warning. I know that for sure, because I hear it all the time when I'm boosting all the time. It's like, 50% remaining. I guess after you don't listen at 50, they just don't care anymore, maybe.
Yeah.
They're like, this guy's not listening to crap anyway. He'll enjoy this.
We just need big flashing on your screen right in front of your face. Hey, run out.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll look like this with my monitor where it goes.
Yeah.
What is happening? Going into a seizure. Yeah, I mean, I think that the mining stuff's been interesting stuff, but it's good to see all the channel growth. I've been watching everybody's channels. Everybody's been growing. And not only that, we are seeing a lot of new people come in with questions and stuff. And so I applaud all you guys for really doing your due diligence, helping people out like you always like to. But it makes it easier for us all to stream, right? It makes it so much easier to stream when you have active chat and people are asking questions and things are helping. The only other thing I'd like to talk about before we get into the review is something that I mentioned to some of you guys before we went on the air. Had experience when I was playing with Burke the other day, and I like the way Burke handled this. We've all had trolls come in our chats, and I know many of you out there have too. They're content creators or streamers and all that for Star Citizen. And Burke has a very large community of people, much like some of the other content creators you guys have seen. Lyric come in lately, Tim Mac, all these other guys coming in checking out Star Citizen stuff.
Sure.
Their communities travel with their channels. They play a lot of different games. Some of their people are very interested in Star Citizen. Some of them don't care so much. But one of the things that happened there was a lot of people debating and arguing like we see all the time in chat. And what Burke told his chat was he told them, he said, hey, look, guys, most of the people are here to hang out with our community, right? Not Star Citizen, the channel community. And so he just wants people to respect each other. If you don't like the game, that's fine. You don't have to piss all over it. But also, people that are fans of Star Citizen, and I'm guilty of this in the past too, as many people are, we tend to jump on people that are critical of the game, you know? And I think it's a better aspect for us to not be that way towards everybody. You know, if somebody says something wrong, and I've seen people in chat do that before, they'll jump on somebody, and maybe the guy just had an honest question, and he was just like rooted out like he is a troll, but he's just had an honest question. Everybody's like, oh yeah, you don't even know. It's like, I think we get a little vicious because we're so passionate about it. I'd say take a breath, you know, let the mods and let the streamer handle that stuff. If somebody has a question and they approve you of helping each other out, that's great. But don't jump all over and get argumentative with people in chat. That just adds to the mods' work. That adds to the streamers' work. And it makes them really not even want to, like, check out our game. So
it's true.
I'm just saying, have that patience and stuff. Don't drive down. If it is a troll, let them handle it. Don't dive down as deep as that troll does on them, because you're just making their mods work double then. It's just not good. So let's try not to do it. All right. Let's get into the good now. That's what Cletus was telling me.
Cletus.
Cletus is hilarious. We're going to get into the week's development. Now, the beginning of the week was, I won't say it was light, right? It wasn't necessarily light, but it was, it didn't have a lot of variety of questions or anything, right? So it was like, I think they only answered, what, 2? One was polled, one was another one. So I don't even remember what they both were. I remember
they were pretty important questions. I don't remember what they were, but they were
the first one. The first one was kind of. The second one was about physicalized inventory, but we'll get into them here because I remember the physicalized inventory, and I think that's pretty important.
Sure.
To the whole structure of the game and everything. So let's go flip screens and go to that.
Should have retitled it this week: "Dodging all questions, not calling all."
Toy always with his special, unique perspective in the community.
I was waiting for the toy to come out.
Yeah, the toy analysis. We need the toy analysis. Me and Toy should do a show where we have point counterpoint, where he just has his perspective versus the right perspective of mine, and that would probably work. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Toy's new name: Glass Half Empty.
All right, so. This one right here was basically, some of these are very subjective, right? And they come back up. We've seen them in the past, right? We've talked about them before. And CIG's talked them to length. But after a year of like 2017, the way it was pretty dry, and then we have all this influx of new people now with 2018 with production development ramping up a little bit more quickly, we get to see some of the same questions come back again. Some of the same questions that like we think as old backers, like, my God, this crap. But new people need to know. So they asked, how long should it take to earn a spaceship in the game? And they probably gave one of the longest answers I've ever seen in Calling All Devs history. But
with no actual answer.
Right.
Because it would have been easy just to say, hey, it was subjective. But, I mean, Toy, go ahead and give your analysis. What made you hate the answer to this? Because I know that's what you're going to say.
Listen, I know what people are looking for. I mean, how long would it take you if you came in with nothing? How long would it take you to get out of your starter ship and be able to afford the next tier up, which would be, you know, maybe like a stinking Avenger.
Yeah.
series.
That's not the next tier up, technically.
Well, it depends where you start at, right? Again, it's all subjective, but let's say
from an Aurora to an Avenger, just to give
What
an
Aurora?
example.
What?
Because we've had an example. I mean, Ben, a long time ago, he says that you guys will probably be getting out of your starter ships in about 8 or 9 hours of gameplay.
Correct. That was the estimate then. Of course, so much has changed too.
But my point is like you start with a Mustang Alpha. Is the next tier up an Avenger, or is the next tier up a Mustang Delta? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and that's why I say it's subjective. I mean, what is the next tier up for anything? If you start out with a Cutlass, because they have a Cutlass package, what's the next tier up? It's so subjective. It's hard to answer in those respects.
It also depends on your skill level, and
he could have given an example.
What you do. There's too many factors there. Like, how can you lock it down to a specific amount of time when you say, well, maybe I spend 5 hours walking around Lorville before I go do anything.
Yeah, but they're talking about
you go straight to work.
Mm-hmm.
What if you had no ships? How long would it take you to earn an Aurora?
Well, the thing is, like, earnability has to do with what tools you have in front of you. You're going to earn faster if you have a good ship versus a bad ship, right?
And starting capital, depending on what package you got, you might have more starting capital.
But I think assuming you start with just like the $45 starter pack, maybe 5,000 Alpha UEC and an Aurora,
for using the referral code.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Like, what would you get is the question. How fast would you be able to earn it? And I don't really know, like, if that's because like a lot of people might invest. You might actually get more bang for your dollar investing in components to upgrade your Aurora right away. Yeah. Or you could just hold out and save for a new hull and then upgrade that hull. I don't know what the best solution is.
But that's not the question.
I know.
But I mean, the question is basically, what do you expect to earn doing missions per hour? And how much will the first tier ship cost?
We can't answer that because you earn based on your capability. You have a hammerhead and a of NPC, guess what? You're going to earn like 100 times faster than somebody in an Aurora.
But we're not talking about, middle game or end game stuff. We're talking about new beginners. Yeah. How long will it take to earn a...
Well, and it'll also be, I think the new player experience would be better question would be answered is like, is CIG's vision of the new player experience? Like when you start day one in the sandbox, do you only have access to missions? Are you gonna have to tier up missions to be able to unlock doing cargo runs for specific people? Or could you get in the game and you can start with tier 0 mission givers running cargo? Like, do I have to do no combat missions ever? Can I avoid that path? It really depends, you know what I mean? Like, we don't know what they're gonna offer everybody. Is it gonna be just like today where I could just get a message and I could run out and do a comm link? Or am I gonna have to meet a security guy who would, kind of link me into that? I don't know. I mean, some of those things are interesting there because there are people that are purists that only want to run cargo. They don't want to do any combat. And there's other guys that you couldn't pay enough money to run cargo. They were just go blow stuff up and get paid. So those two paths, I can't picture being perfectly equal. Yeah. I was thinking of something else. Anyway, but those two paths, I couldn't picture being exactly equal. And even if they were, I mean, I don't know how you would plan them out, right? Like, because you might do some cargo runs that are just really, you hit the marks right and you're just getting paid while the other guy's just maybe only getting 5% a run, or he gets blown up and he starts at 0 like many of us have.
But there's also, I think, and this is all me theory crafting, but I think there's going to be this like multi-dimensional approach to like increasing your ability to earn, right? One of which is increasing the tools you have, the ship you have, the components you put in your ship.
Sure.
The better ship, the better components, the more money, the bigger, better missions you're going to be able to take on, the more money you're going to be able to make per hour. But also reputation. You could focus all your time working on one group and building your rep with one group, which might expose you to more money per hour type missions from a very specific area or region that other people don't have access to, right? And it's like, but if you diversify your gameplay across like a whole bunch of different things and you don't focus your attention in the right spots, it might take you forever to earn some money. But if you do it just right and you build the rep with the right groups, maybe you'll earn money super fast. I don't know. I think it's multi-dimensional, right?
That's what I think too, because go ahead.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. What do you think, Scorp? Let Scorpion get a word in. We're burying
I was gonna let it all just kind of unfold, but sure. So no, I think that's all true. I agree with all that. I think that some of the points he made were that right now Stanton's a really safe system, so you can't really get a feel for what it's going to be like to take higher risk jobs, those kind of things. And so I think it's all still in development, right? But I think Luke's right. I think there are going to be multiple ways to do this. And I just want to say, for something Luke said earlier, like when I was grinding in Elite Dangerous, I didn't upgrade my ship the minute I got enough money to buy a new hull. I did upgrade my components. I did get better guns. I did get better coolers. I did get better everything, because that way you were able to succeed better at the missions that you were taking on and make more money that way. Because when you get a new hull, that ship is not as effective as your ship is with upgraded components initially, right? So you do have to kind of weigh the pluses and minuses of upgrading to the new kind of bare bones ship hull versus having a fully equipped lesser ship, right? So I think that is true.
Yeah, I agree. They're going back over to what Luke was saying about multiple dimensional gameplay too. It's if you are the person jumping around doing everything, you might have multiple hulls. That upgrade might not be exactly an upgrade. It might not be like if you had a cargo vessel to start with, you might not just get a bigger cargo vessel. You might be like, God, I need a combat ship yesterday. So we're going to go ahead and get this combat vessel. So you still have to rely on the cargo vessel you have to run cargo. And then when you have combat stuff you need to do, you're using a different tool out of the toolbox. And then you have to worry about upgrading both or changing out both, which could change your whole path to when you get the next ships or what happens. There's so many different things that can come in there. I don't think there is a perfect hours played that. I know Ben tried to answer that, like what Toy was saying back when. And he said they want to make it to where it's at least about 8 hours of gameplay or so to do so. But if I start out with a prospector, I could go out and make money like way faster than somebody who starts out with like an Aurora.
Yeah, and the truth is human players are going to be more valuable. I think if they are, I think, and if you're the kind of person who's going to like hook up with orgs of any kind, I feel like early tier gameplay, you're going to scale super fast on the economic side of things. Maybe not rep. Rep always takes time to build from NPC's perspective. But at the end of the day, an org that wants more human players to be part of their org, they're literally going to pay you a fortune because it's nothing to them. They're like, oh, you want a saber? Here you go. You know what I mean? Like, we'll give you $1 million alpha UEC starting capital.
They still never answered the reputation question about how rep impacts organizations or groups, right? Like, if the five of us go do a mission, do we all get the equal amount of rep, or is it divided among five like we would consider money being? You know what I mean? Like, or is it only the person who took the mission gets the rep? I mean, there's a lot of things like that. I know, like, again, I'm going to use the reference all that. I need an emote for like in EVE Online, because that's my tagline. What I say in EVE Online, you divide the reputation in a lot of things. Like if you're just going out farming pirates or something, you'll get like criminal reduction equally because you're in that group of people in the same area to do it. You aren't going to get it as an individual. And then missions, you divide the loot if you share the mission to your group, or your party can choose to just help you. Like if it's my mission and we're just trying to get my rep up, you guys just help me with the mission. But since I took it, accepted it, and didn't share it to you, I can get all the rep. So they have what's called rep boosting, right? So your org is helping one player get his rep up because the rep impacts the entire organization. Not just one person. And we don't know if they're going to have anything like that in here. I hope they don't. I hope it's just individual. And then they just accumulate. Like if this guy has good rep and everybody does, then your entity may get better rep. But I think it's a balance for sure. Like, and then we're going way off topic at this point in time. But I think that
that hardly ever happens.
I know, right? I think rep boosting is something that should help a little bit, right? Like, it makes sense to like be with the group and be like, hey, like I know this guy, like I can vouch for him, so you're gonna get some sort of boost there. But yeah, I agree that like it takes away gameplay when somebody can just go into like with a group of people who already have insanely high rep, and then all of a sudden they can like scale to that rep in such a short period of time. That shouldn't happen, but I don't know. But
so I think the other thing though is that if you're a complete loner and you go in with your Aurora and all you want to do is carry a couple of boxes around in really safe space, it's going to take you longer to get your ship upgraded and everything else going than it is for somebody who's in an org, doing org things, going out doing things that are more riskier potentially, and doing that kind of stuff. I think it's just going to be that way.
Yeah, to a certain point, I think you're right.
You're always going to have. I mean, they talk about how this game is going to be pay to win because you have ships. Well, that's not necessarily true because and having orgs in here is always going to have an advantage because you guys can pool your money. Y'all can go out and do small individual missions, and you're still pooling your money to get there faster than somebody that's out there by themselves. But you know, I'm hoping with this reputation system that you just can't go out on day one and take a whole E out and fill it up and expect to make you know, however many trillions of credit profit on it. That you have to work your way up the reputation system, you know, because I'm not going to give you all that cargo because I don't know who you are type of thing. You know what I mean? So you need to earn their trust and actually work your way up by doing these smaller missions to get to a certain
And it comes to the question, are you making money or rep for yourself, or are you grinding for the org? Because many people band together in the org and be, you know, it's like, that's great, but that doesn't help the individual get money. So it depends on your goals.
Right. But rep sharing would be really cool because, like, let's say like somebody needs rep with a certain particular like cargo hauling company or whatever, right? If you like worked as an intern, not an intern, but you ran a few missions, needed an extra hand, you know what I mean? Maybe you could help get enough rep to start doing your own missions with them or something. So I don't know, interesting stuff.
The challenge with that, and this is what they found, they had to limit it and divide it in a different way in EVE, was the fact that I would have level 4 or 5 missions, you know, the highest level they offered on the game, and I'd get a guy who just started yesterday, I'd have him group up with me, and I could get him up to like level 3 missions or 4 missions within a few, just like couple missions. And he didn't actually play. He just sat back there in the back like, okay, I'll go ahead and do it while I'm using like capital ships to finish this mission. You know what I mean? And thus it would boost the entire org standing because we're just getting more and more people that everybody has access to level 4 or 5 missions, you know? So, and the more people that you have at that level, then as you add additional people, it won't drop the rep down together. So there's all sorts of meta involved in all that. All right. The one other question, we already kind of alluded to it in the beginning there, was about physicalized inventory, I believe it was.
It was.
And how there's a huge, I won't say a huge debate, because I haven't seen these posts, because people were like, talked to some people in my chat, but I haven't seen these posts. Everybody's like, oh, they're on fire about physicalized inventory. I mean, I haven't seen these posts like on Reddit or anywhere where people are like really fighting about it heavily, not like other subjects anyway. But what are your guys' take on physicalized inventory? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you want a magic bag of tricks? What do you want?
I like the idea of having to actually touch the thing. I don't want, you know, a magic bag of holding in Star Citizen. That's, you know, love it in D&D, don't want it in Star Citizen.
So I think that it was confusing, the answer to me that they gave, because they talk about physicalized inventory, but when they talked about it, they alluded to the idea that it's not entirely physicalized. Like, it's physicalized, it's in the room kind of a thing, but that you don't actually have to go up and grab and pick up everything. Like, it sounded like you could be
they haven't decided that yet.
Yeah, it sounded like you could theoretically be in the zone or region space, like if you're in your room, movie glass, and see all of the stuff in your room and drag and drop it around to various things that you need. Now, it doesn't mean that like you can grab items that are far away from you. You know, you can't just, like, you don't have all your inventory wherever you go. Things have their places,
right?
But it's not like you literally have to like, okay, I've got a bag and now I've got to like stuff this in the bag and then figure out how I can stuff that in the bag.
And they did mention that like ships and other items that you might be able to remote request transport of them. They couldn't immediately appear, but you might be able to like order a cargo run from one station to another without physically having to go there, which I'm okay with, you know. But so they accommodate it. But yeah,
the question is if you ask for your stuff to be shipped from point A to point B, right? Does it physically get shipped? And if that shipment gets attacked by pirates, do you
I would
lose
assume
it?
so. Absolutely.
I would assume so too.
But see, they talked today about a home base hangar, and specifically like having, if you have like the Endeavor Master Pack, you have all these modules. Those modules actually have to sit in this hangar.
They did. They said all modules are physicalized.
So you're going to have to go there to swap out your modules. I mean, and when you go in these hangars now, you see, on the above the girders, there's like cranes and stuff up there. So, I mean, I know they want it in the future where right now cargo just pops in and out. And I know in the future they want like NPCs that come in and actually physically load and unload your cargo. So I don't see any difference with them basically kind of faking the same thing with your modules to put them on your ship.
Right, but I wonder about that. They've talked about it and alluded to like cargo, but I do wonder if they'll ever actually pursue that. fully.
It's
Yeah,
a long ways down.
I think there's a happy medium that could be
Well, the
found
most
somewhere.
interesting one out of any
Yeah.
of those, as far as dealing with physicalized modules for your ship, is the Endeavor, right? That's one of the big examples that was been discussed a lot, even in the RTV today. You have to have those if you want to change out to like a hospital bay module. If you have the master pack, you have to have that. I'm like, where the hell do you store a hospital? Like that's a lot of
The
stuff, you
HD
know,
building.
or the
It's the only
radar,
building I
or
can think
the
of.
big dish, right? Like the huge,
Biodomes.
yeah, that
but-
sensor dish is like
In a
a
hangar.
small apartment.
Well, it would be in storage somewhere like in the shipyard near where your hangars are, right? Like I
Yeah.
can kind of buy that. But the thing is, they're going to have to, right? It's a balancing act.
But
They
can you
have
even
to
land
make-
that ship?
You can,
No,
land,
the
you can land the
Endeavor? I
front
doubt
of
it.
it. You can land the front of it. I don't know
You'd
if you
have
can
to
land the
have
back
it.
of
Right.
You'd have to go to station and moor it and put it in like a dry dock like thing or something.
Yes.
Probably that would be crazy
No.
looking.
So I know
But
that
yeah.
they have this desire to make this all kind of as tactile, right, as possible, which is fine.
Sure.
I think there's going to be a trade-off between having it be 100% realistic, where all these things are actually happening all the time, or you have to actually walk to the locker, or you have to walk to the sink, or walk to the whatever.
Yeah.
But so I think being in proximity and using mobiGlas is kind of a way to gamify it a little bit more, so it's not quite
Yeah.
as egregious that you have to do everything actually.
Yeah.
But it's going to be tricky. I would actually like to have the option of actually watching the cargo get loaded, but I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
get hampered by it every single
Yeah.
time either.
I don't
right?
want to do it
Right.
myself. I want to go to, like we said, like you go to port if you need to change out the Endeavor. You're in a spaceship. You like go up and you're docked to it, and then they send out like guys there. That's part of the service thing,
Yeah.
and they're put on. So I can choose to sit there and watch it, or I could go run off and do my thing, and it'll be ready in
Right.
an hour or
Right.
30 minutes or whatever. That
And I'm
makes sense
sure
to me.
that's what they're going to do.
I hope
I
so.
mean, it's not going to be one of those things. It's like when you take a Holy somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's going to be kind of automated, but the robots will come pull the cargo boxes off and take them to where they need to go. You don't have to sit there and do every single box yourself.
And wait three or 4 hours for your Holly to
Yeah.
get loaded.
Yeah. that'd be
Well,
great.
and you should though. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
should
Well, not
have to
3 or
wait
not-
for that thing.
Not 3 or 4 hours.
If you have a Holy, why not? If you've got
But-
thousands and thousands,
Because the rule
boxes
of
on that
cool,
thing.
you're trying to make a game that's
So
fun too.
I'd say 3 or 4 hours might
but-
be excessive.
No.
I-
No,
I'm gonna say
absolutely
that
not, because
you
with
wouldn't
as
sit
much-
there and wait,
with
though.
as much
You'd go do
cargo
other
as you could
shit.
Put in that thing with
Yeah.
as much cargo as you could put in that thing, you could break the economy if it's like instant.
Well, I don't want an
Unloaded.
instance here, but here's what I'm saying. I would hope they wouldn't even have, it wouldn't be like Joe and Frank on the dry dock of Sears loading your refrigerator. It's going to
No.
be like drones that are coming in and out of the station pulling all your
Yeah.
cargo boxes.
Yeah.
I would hope a fully loaded Holy might take a half hour.
Yeah,
And
here's
it's like
also
a bunch
maybe
of
more.
a bunch of boxes going there, because just driving the thing, doing all that stuff, yeah, it's going to
Sure.
be a while. Plus, it's also going to be subject to attack and everything else if you're not staying in safe space. So
right. Yeah, and also here's why it would never break the economy. The whole E is only going to be able to land and dock at very specific locations. So you're only going to be able to transport large amounts of cargo to major ports, most likely. I mean, this is me theory.
you have to go to a dock that actually supports that, right?
And your margins are going to be a lot lower because you're not able to take that cargo to where it's really needed. You're like running the main line, and then what you're going to do is you're going to have smaller cargo vessels hauling it from those main ports to the smaller ports. So you're never, I don't think you're ever, I mean, that's my thoughts at least.
I agree 100%. That's what I'm thinking. You know, you're going to take this huge freighter. You're going to have to go to a specific dock that accepts it, right? Much like if you want to take it down to a planet, you can't take the whole E down there. So you're going to go to the satellite or the station above. The prices there are going to be watered down. If you want to capitalize on that investment, you're going to have smaller ships break it out and do a whole logistics chain if you want to do that. If you don't, you'll be able to sell it there. But the first Holy that comes in, if you're the third Holy, you're probably going to be making like less than half of what the first one did, because the market's going to go way down. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's going to be really OP. I think if you're selling, like if prices are hot, one guy might get super rich off that first hull, right? If he's lucky. But if it's regular freight runs back and forth, I think you're going to end up in a position to where that market is the only market within, like, you know, this section of the solar system that can dock a whole E at it. So that's it. Otherwise, you're going to have to bring a smaller hull, or you're going to have to bring like some freelancers or something, and then you can go to the more remote stations and ports and stuff, and then make those individual monies. So it's more playing the game of margins like you would stock, right? You're going to get a 1% profit, 3% profit off a major load because you're moving volume, Whereas somebody doing that will make like he can make 50 or 100% profit off a smaller load because he can get in those good areas that a whole E can't. That's what I look at.
Yeah.
I hope it works that way anyway.
Yeah, well, we don't know.
Yeah, we do know there's diminishing returns, though. We do know there's supply and demand. We do know it's NPC top-end controlled for the most part because they're going to be influencing the economy and controlling it more than we will. But we will have some influence and we will get diminished returns when we like saturate something.
And we do know some missions that you take will be spawned by other human players. And if orgs need stuff done, they might be spawning missions. And it would be funny is if you're actually transporting stuff, they might have a vested interest in your success and you might get free like security or something.
You know, it'd be really hilarious if an org runs a mission and you get that mission, and then your org's so big that you don't know that that's your org mission, and you attack your own org lines of what you're running. It's like, oh no, you just attacked. That was that was our stuff. You're like, you just like blew up a freighter to steal their stuff, and it was really for your org. Test might have that problem. They're so big they end up killing their own stuff. It's like, damn it.
Yeah,
I can't believe it. But no, I think that would be a great way for it to form out and work. I had a thought and I lost it on the whole thing. But anyway, like we said, physicalized inventory. We went off the rails on the whole.
Yeah, we did.
But we always do. We always do.
But for me, and the physicalized inventory, I know 1 second. The most important thing for me with physicalized inventory is that you don't have this global bag that you can pull all of your inventory from wherever you are. Right?
Yeah,
I don't care. I obviously I want as much immersion as possible.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if everything pops into existence and pops into existence, but in a way that's believable, like I don't pull a horse out of my pocket and ride it under the sunset.
Oh, hang on, I have a cyclone here.
Yeah, like as long as like
here.
I'm okay with things popping into existence, as long as they pop into existence within the reasons and confines of where you're at in the game. I think that's cool. Like I'm okay with that.
I actually even want them to go farther in the end game. I want it to be like these different outposts that we have down the ground where we see, like we go to the kiosk and we call up our cyclone. I really want them to eventually make it an animation of a garage where an elevator goes down and it comes from like some garage you don't go to, right? But it's there, it's still popping up.
You can't physically
but it's not
walk
like
into,
bloop, here it is. It's like goes down, comes up, and it's got your cyclone. Like the machine's loading it, much like those car garages in Japan, right? They have the full slotted cars. They slot them like a vending machine and you hit C3 and you get your car back. Those electronic valet garages. That's why I want our cars to work, except they're kind of sight not sound. They're underground. They pop up. That would be ideal for me. All right. But yeah, physicalized inventories I think are huge. And because it speaks to the whole time delay, right? Like everything's got a time delay. You want to matter and be meaningful, because just like if I can move myself across the system instantly, if I can move all my ships and assets across the system instantly, it takes out a huge element of strategy in the game. A huge element.
There's only one little issue I have with it is they talked about it a while back where they said they were going to be putting like small little type of gun lockers in most of these smaller, one-seater ships or whatever.
Yeah.
So you could actually store a gun. That's not going to be in with this when they finally come in with their first implementation of physicalized inventory. So are you still going to be able to take your rifle with you when you go do stuff?
Maybe not in a Hornet.
Where did I see that they said they are going back, and it's not a rework, just like they defined today in RTV, but they are going to go back and they're going to start to add not only like lock into your seat, but on some of the fighters, you're going to have like what they call that? Not a hidden gun rack, like a little gun rack or a hidden compartment on the side where you're just like some of the modern day fighters do, where you could pull out a short stocked SMG or something in the side of the craft. If you're crashed or marooned, you can get your gun out still, or if you land there properly.
About.
Yeah.
I just think if you're flying a Super Hornet and you have that back seat sitting in it, you should be able to just throw and just junk back there.
Or it should be fixed in your chair, right? Like if you eject in your chair, you can go to your chair and you could pull out like maybe your gun's racked in the side of it or something, something like that. They'll come up with something. They don't want to leave us totally out there, whatever.
I mean, even Luke Skywalker had some survival kit when he crashed on Dagobah in his X-Wing, right? So, I mean...
It's true. Or when he fought in Empire, when he fought the big walkers, right? He had to go back in and grab his lightsaber out of there. He's like, oh, crap, I got to get my little lightsaber and the harness thing in order to wrap this up. So he's reaching in there and almost gets squished. Yeah, definitely. That stuff will be a thing. So many cool stuff. I'd like to
wait, did you just confirm snow speeders are going to be a thing in Star Citizen?
No confirmations. No, I would like to also remind chat, if you do have questions or comments or anything related to the game that you want us to discuss or anything on the second half of the show, all you have to do is type ! questions or get one of the mods to, and you can use that link, put it on the forum, and we will try to hit them all during that second half of the broadcast. So, because I see a lot of people ask questions there, and sometimes we miss them and all that, and we'll go through that towards the second half. All right, so let's go. This will be a short one too, because we'll go through ATV real quick, because it was the mighty duo, right?
Yeah,
where they spent the first 3 minutes doing their usual. Those guys, man, they're crazy. Anyway, so let's get to the potatoes here. So they just basically talked a little bit about 3.4, what we're getting in 3.4, right? And just some of the little updates we're seeing there, which we know there's not a lot of meat and potatoes for what we'll see. It's more quality of life improvements on some of the systems and things that we have right now that I'm really looking forward to. And the big physicalized feature that we're looking at getting is the business district over in Lorville will hopefully be successful and open up. So we'll have that as well. And other than that, I mean, that's really the basis of everything I think that they've said in this video. We're getting there. I'm being careful because I know some people are Evocati access, and we're not going to go into detail about all that. We're just kind of going to breeze through here. But based on this, it looks like everything's on point. They got some new areas that we can see, right? So it's going to be kind of cool to explore some of those. But for me, 3.4 is more of a, like I said, a quality of life patch. I'm really hoping to see VoIP get improved and more solid. I'm looking for little head nods of them maybe tweaking some systems in preparation for flight model changes down the road, but we're not going to see full flight model changes until another build or two at least.
I'm looking forward to the new ships in 3.4 most of all, because we're finally getting our freelancers lines.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And that freelancer Max looks sexy, man.
The Max is probably the one I'm the most interested in 3.4, even though the Hawk is supposed to be coming online, right? It's still scheduled for 3.4.
Yeah. Yep. Should be cool.
But again, the Hawk's not really something overall. It'll be cool to look at. It'll be cool to see. Have another ship in the verse.
Bounty hunting's not in the game yet, right?
Yeah, it's not in the game, and I honestly don't think that would be the ship I would choose to bounty hunt, because more of a team player, I would probably want to see the Cutlass Blue.
Yep.
Those things where you have multiple cells, you can go in with like a little ops team, you know, and you're like capturing people and doing that stuff rather than, hey, I'm solo, I'm going to stick you in the butt of my ship and we're going to go.
You think they're going to let us tackle people eventually in the game?
How many cells are in
I hope they do Red Dead 2 where we lasso them and you like hog time and they can load them up. That would be perfect.
That'd be great.
Like,
how many cells are in the blue? Because
it was only like 3. 6? I think it was 3
or 4. Wasn't
3
it?
or 4.
Well, I want to say 4.
Yeah.
I think that the Cutlass Blue needs like a portable like carbonite like freezer machine.
I think the Cutlass Blue needs a EMP gun. Like an EMP gun, you'd actually like zap stuff and like neutralize it rather than a sphere.
Just put it in that
I
turret
don't
on top.
know.
That'd be cool.
I mean, Boba Fett didn't have an EMP.
Yeah, but Boba Fett wasn't playing Star Citizen either. You know what I mean?
Well, that's true.
Yeah, so Boba Fett did a lot of things, but you know that ship, the Hawk, it has some sort of distortion weapons as well. So, but the distortion weapons, while they affect shields and stuff, the real meat and potatoes of them are supposed to be for when interdiction gets its next update, right? And it'll prevent you from quantum driving and those type of things. Those systems aren't in yet, right? To prevent somebody from running from you, because you can run no matter what. Nobody can like stop you from running at this point when you want to jump away still.
Yeah, that's true.
Minus blowing you up. But no, the layout of this looks really cool. I like the whole vision of everything. I think some people were surprised at like where they were in development on this. They thought this was like more of a done than seeing just the white boxes. And you see in these scenes, they have most of the rooms kind of laid out and like this. I think they're just showing some of the earlier stuff, but I think most of this is all done.
It should be.
You would hope so at this stage.
Hopefully. Yeah, if it's going to be in 3.4.
Did they ever update the roadmap today? Last time I looked at
it wasn't updated this afternoon. If someone wants to check on it, they can real quick, and we'll take a peek. There's just not a lot on the near roadmap I've been super excited about, so I don't check it daily like I used to. You're also getting a new mission giver, right? You're gonna get the Hurston guy. What's his name?
I didn't catch his first name.
Constantine Hurston, I think it was, or something like that. So you're gonna get him. This is a type of mission guy I might be interested in because you get better rep with like a major company in there. Who also has, like we saw in some of those flashes there, the arms dealer on the floor, where you can see there's like guns on one side. You can go through the showcase. So it's like their upgraded shop for Hurston Dynamics, where you get to see these detailed on all the different guns and stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's gonna be a neat place to visit.
Yeah. I like the clean lines of it that they showed off, and I like the way it's like has this like contrast to the rest of Lorville that we've seen so far.
Absolutely.
It creates, in just one city, you're getting this strong sense of variety without even flying to a new planet yet. You just just hang out in Lorville, and you can be like, oh, you're in the business district, or you're in like the pleb section or something like that.
The industrial workers zone where guys are wearing like plastic bags in their head to breathe, and then you go to the place where it's nicer.
And then I think that they're supposed to have shanty towns eventually too. So you have like these like 3 different tiers of like economic like prosperity. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, because you'll get the rural shanty towns where you might have farmers or something out at on certain different biomes and stuff, and then you'll have the workers, industrialists, and then you'll have like the business guys. Then eventually you'll probably have some sort of royalty or hierarchy of like upper elite that's like in the super nice stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
but you know, Lorville, when do we get the concierge lounge? Come on.
I'm just waiting for the strip clubs to come in.
What do you think the concierge lounge is? Come on.
Bunch of men dancing in their underwear. Perfect. Let's do it. The statue's pretty impressive too.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Although the office, I can't wait till more things are interactable on the desk. It's like the apartments are really cool. The little habs where you can actually touch some things and use some of the things. I think it's going to get even better over time. I was also surprised, not by this tech, because we've seen it before, right, with all the Squadron 42. I was surprised by some of the people in my chat's reaction to it. And that made me realize how many people have never seen the tech from Squadron 42, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I know, right?
Because everybody was like, oh, wow. And I'm like, yeah, it's just off Squadron 42. They're like, really? And then when he has his face peeled off, they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, that's how they get the fidelity. They basically, you know, leather face a face and pull it off and wrap it on.
Yep.
They cut somebody's face off and they put it on a camera. Wait, what?
Yeah, absolutely. It's perfect. Right here.
Totally happened just like that.
Exactly. The stuff serial killers are made of. Perfect. But the realism is like, you know, we all see it in game every day. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, the end product was good. I mean, they really did such a good job on the eyes, especially.
Yep. Bender saying it is updated. Thanks, Bender. Big shout out to DJ Knight. What's up, buddy? Make sure you go check him out. One of the best content creators I've ever had the pleasure of meeting.
Yeah, still got his bag of M&Ms around here somewhere. From
he gave you M&Ms?
Or 17. He did. DJ Knight M&Ms. I still got my. I told him I wasn't going to eat them until he sent me a new bag.
I want to frame this picture right here.
That picture?
This picture right here.
Oh my God.
So it's like, because it makes me very uncomfortable in so many different ways. And I just need those pictures sometimes to bring me back to reality. But yeah, it's good. Director Juicy. Yep. All right. Come back. Keeps rotating the wrong button on the stream deck. All right, there we go.
Great.
But yeah, it was a good episode to give people kind of a preview of what we're going to see actually in 3.4 as far as the business district and stuff. And I am excited to see it. My question is, are they going to ever add, like especially to areas like a city like Lorville, are they going to add multiple starports in some of these? I imagine they'll have to in like ArcCorp. They want to just have one starport, right? Where you're like, oh, I'll take off from here. You're going to have a bunch when you have a whole city planet.
Well, I'm surprised they don't have. Oh, you're talking about like more than just Lorville, or you're talking about in Lorville?
I'm talking about like in Lorville. If the city was expanded, I would think there'd be a couple other places to take off from other than just one centralized one. But maybe that's just scaled per that city. I don't know.
I figured that there'd be something on the outskirts of this. They have all the trains.
Yeah.
Perimeter. Like I don't understand like why you wouldn't be able to. I mean, park a ship there, even if it was a horrible spaceport, right? Like even if it was like a rundown one, that you might lose your engines or something for theft. But like, and then there are like landing pads everywhere in the city. There's landing pads on top of the Hurston, like the Lorville building or whatever that is. There's like, yeah. So I don't know.
Maybe something like that become available as we get access to that building. You know, moving down the road. I don't know. I mean,
I'd like to see that like reputation based. You work your way up doing a bunch of quests.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Become like a lead or whatever, and they're like, okay, well, you could
use the VIP dock,
right?
Yeah,
like if you want, if you become super rep with Hurston, like because like obviously Constantine, the Hearst families, I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming he's probably low level Hurston.
He's supposedly like middle. The story, what they're saying lore wise, was he's like middle management. And he's trying to prove his worth to the family, so that's why he's having to grind missions.
But he's probably the gateway in. You like help him. You work your way up. Eventually, you work your way up the family tree to the point where you're like kind of in with the Hurston family, but not like 100%.
And you get that 5% discount.
Yeah, but like at that point, like there should be a certain like point where you're like allowed to land on the like the top of the building or something,
or get a valet to bring your ship to you. That'd be awesome. It's like, oh, I'll just have them bring it up and they fly the ship.
But what would be funny is it seems like the people of the Hearst family generally respect money and power. So it'd be funny if not only you had to build a reputation with them, but you also had to have a certain net worth. So it's like combo, 1-2 punch. So like, you do missions, you build up rep with them, but they don't truly respect you until your net worth is like a certain value. And once you get both of those,
once you're like, once you're going to the same country club they are, then they know you're good.
Part of the family.
That'll be interesting. We'll see.
I'm still really wanting like, I know there's the pirate aspect, but I really want that like semi legit family, like almost mafioso type thing where it's like, you know what I mean? Like you got this whole version of like the space mob where they're not straight pirates, right? Wearing the whole, jump gear and all that stuff, but they're right on the edge. Maybe Drake would be something like that where they'd be kind of in between. They know they're selling to nefarious people, but they don't really care. So they're on the edge, but you can get in with them. I don't know. I think it'd be cool to have that, or maybe it'd be a militia group that's like that. But I think that'd be really, really fun. So much cool story possibilities there. All right. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the week. What do you guys think of the RTV, just in general? What was your impression? Did you like that aspect? Did you kind of be like, don't really care? You can just put the updates on that.
I know Toy is going to have all kinds of things to complain about, probably regarding it.
I loved it.
You did?
I thought it was amazing.
Okay, good. I loved it.
Good one.
Good?
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a little bland in parts, but overall, it was packed with ship information, so you can complain.
It was ship details. Yeah.
You want me to be? It was 30 minutes before they showed the first pictures.
Yeah, they started
there
right off.
There's the salt I know.
Yeah.
No, the thing I like the best about it, because a lot of the information, let's be fair, could have been updated in a post or something like that. I'd rather watch a video than read a long ass post about things personally. But the thing I like the most about it is the fact where Disco kind of drove the conversation to give people good perspective on that might be new. He kept it entertaining enough for us older backers. They're like, yeah, we've seen the whole song and dance. He knows what we want to know on the meat and potatoes of each one of these ships that is available. But at the same time, they were able to kind of footnote and touch upon each individual developmental process just a little bit. Not going, hey, we're going to rehash everything we've told you for the last 2 years. But like, okay, these ships, and then John Crew just giving point and state, yeah, if it's not on the map, you're talking more than 2 years out. If it's not on this, then you're talking. And these are important things for not only us to remember, but also for new people to get in perspective. It's like if you bought the Kraken in the last 3 months, you're not going to be flying that thing probably for the next 2 years.
Long time.
Yeah.
And it's while that's kind of like a shock to the system for some people, it's also like, wow, because a lot of people reiterate, they crank out a ship and we hold up an example of this ship or that ship. The development on this, guys, was like it was like from when they showed us 1 year. Boom, they had it out. And that happens on some ships. But some ships have been years in development, or years where they've touched on and they've paused development because they had to work on something else, and they reiterated all that stuff during this video. And I think they did a great job. Great job.
A Redeemer.
Yeah,
I agree. They did talk about the Redeemer
pretty extensively and about the developmental challenges with it more than any
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, but they but they said that they're still going to work on it, but it's going to be dedicated gunship, not dropship / gunship. And
Yeah.
they talked about it was actually interesting because they talked about maybe changing the manufacturer on it so they could keep it true to its current styling, which is what people actually kind of like.
Well,
so that it won't be.
They're in a hard spot with that ship, right? Because even though they might get all the original winners to sign off on, hey, right, because some of them are now staff, they work at CIG because they have the technical chops to be able to do it. But because they didn't have a standard of operation or standard development of how they build ships like the Redeemer, it was kind of like make your ultimate ship and press and wow us, and then we'll see what we like. That kind of put them in a pitfall because right after that they changed the entire pipeline of how they develop ships. And as they go through the gameplay aspects of how they develop gameplay, they're like, oh, well, this didn't work. Because they've had this internally, too, not just with the Redeemer, right? They've made ships what they thought were for certain gameplay. And as the gameplay loop developed for what they want to do, it didn't make sense anymore like that.
Yeah.
Well, and plus, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. I was gonna say that, like, as far as I actually don't care one about the Redeemer. It's not something I've ever been emotionally invested in. But like,
I love the
I'm not saying that I shouldn't be. I just never was emotionally invested in it. But I do feel like they basically admitted that the Redeemer is Redeemer in name only this time around. Like they've even said look and feel is going to potentially change. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not only has function changed on it, but everything's changing on it. So
yeah, potentially. I mean, they flat out said they're going to have to redesign it right from the ground up, pretty much.
They have to, because the role it was going to do, or the role they thought about, like for Squadron 42 or something else, has been taken.
Yeah,
it's like,
and all the metrics have changed, and everything else has changed, and they don't have a style guide for it really that fits the way it is right now.
Yeah.
So it was interesting, but really, if you look at all the other ships, every single ship has gone through multiple redesigns. Right. I mean, you call them whatever you want, but they've gone through multiple passes where they've
I think the reason they're a little more sensitive to this is because they know it's something community created, is the way they look at it. And when they correct themselves, I know, but when they correct themselves, they're like, oh, it doesn't matter. We made it. We can change it, whatever. I think with this one, it's like over time, they're like, well, we don't really want to, that was the one guy, people who made it and all this stuff. I think it's more, I think it's an unvalidated worry they had. I think we would accept a remodel of the ship.
Two things. First of all, like I feel like half of CI, like the people got hired there. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of community who there now. But two, is that this is the only ship that I know of that is going through a rework, but a rework to the sense of where they literally change the entire intent of the ship. Like when they do reworks in the past, it's like the ship itself doesn't change, not the goal of it or the purpose of its existence. This is basically like, it's not a drop gun
you
ship
could
thing
argue
anymore.
They kind of did that with the Cutlass a little bit. The Cutlass was almost like we're going to do everything with this ship, and they had to like define the role a little bit more of what the Cutlass would do. Still made it a multi-useful ship, but it's not going to be able to like do everything and under the sun now, right? Not really well, because when they sold the Cutlass originally, it was going to be like this ninja fighter and have cargo, because like even the commercial, you could like flip that thing over and just like blast the hell out of. I mean, it retains some of the aspects of that, but they made it a lot more weighted. They made it a lot more heavy in feel and design, but still kept a lot of the aspects to it true to what the intention of it was, right? Where it's a piratey, multi-useful ship, but it's never going to be the top gunner for its size. It's never going to be the top cargo hauler for its sail and skies and price point. But it still fills a nice role of what it's supposed to do at the price point the pledge is available.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think so far, every ship that they've touched and redone or modified or whatever has turned out possibly better than it was originally, or certainly really, really, really good. So
I agree.
People just need to buckle in, chill out, and wait for them to do it, and then see what they come out with.
Yeah, the most dangerous one they have to deal with is going to be the Banu Merchantman. As far as that whole like original intention versus what it is, it's still going to have a whole bazaar that comes. I mean, there's so many things with it that they're going to have to address because it's such a niche ship that's really cool in concept. that whether the implementation, does it maintain a cool factor, or is it going to be this like clown show? That's what I'm worried about. Is it going to be a clown show when they roll it out? Oh, it does a bazaar and everything, but the bazaar is just there. It's cosmetic, and you can kind of use it, but nah. You know, you got to develop so many gameplay loops around that. Yeah. It's insane.
Which is also the point that if they are going to continue with the brand new merchantment and its gameplay, you're going to see other brand new merchantment like ships that you can play. Because they're not going to do all that gameplay mechanic for one ship. I don't think.
Yeah, you'd have to tie it into some other ships or some other gameplay that you could do through a ship, but maybe it's done uniquely for the Banu, but it can't be only a Banu role, or it doesn't make any sense to dedicate.
So if that's the case, then they're going to have other like Genesis Starliner type ships too.
Yeah, you're going to have to either build some other ships to support, or you're going to get some other gameplay to support it.
Genesis Starliner is not going to be the only like point-to-point personal transport ship out there.
Well, they already have other ships that are filling that role.
No, they don't. They don't. Not really. Like they have that ship, maybe for like small jumps or something like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's the scale up version.
We're talking about for NPC.
We're talking about
because that's basically what the Genesis Starliner is built for. It's for NPCs.
Yeah.
Well, it's built for a lot of people and a lot of things, but yes, it's the I want to get a ride from this point to this point, and you go to the like spaceport, and you even see signs for it right now in Lorville, like flights you can catch or something, and that you would catch a flight on a ship like that. And yeah, I would think that there'd be more than just the Genesis Starliner. There might be a couple other variants of it, but
I'm hoping the cheap version they end up coming up with is a reform factored Caterpillar. Like you change out all the modules like cheap airline seats.
Yeah, that would be kind of good.
That'd be really cool, and it could be a full like you're like this is economy, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, and the front of the ship, the whole bay is open and exposed to the vacuum of space, and you have to just wear a spacesuit the entire trip.
Yep, and something or a bag over your head, right? It's like if loss of oxygen occurs, a bag over your head will drop down. It's like put on the whole thing. But yeah, I think there's be some really cool things you could do with that. But yeah, it's interesting. I think they'll find a way, because much like what they're going to have to make AI gameplay for like the Apollo, right? Where they have like a check-in kiosk in the Apollo to come get medical for NPCs to come up and like do it like a mobile clinic. I think they might be able to come up something like that for a bazaar or something on the Banu. But again, AI is going to be a different level than where it is today before we worry about that.
Yeah. I guess I could say that something like the Phoenix is a little bit of a point-to-point transport for rich people, right? Like it's like a private jet. I guess that is something that feels like what other role would it fill? I don't know, but yeah. Anyways,
yeah, and that's what I think. I think you're going to have right now. We have a lot of the privatized transport ships, right? We don't have like public transport on a large scale ships, and that's what the Starliner and the other ships will bring in. But the first thing I like how they showed out the gate the Carrack. I like how they just jumped right into it with a little bit of video preview. We're going to talk about it when we get a little more in the meat and potatoes of it here, much like they did. But because the Carrack was a pretty
looking
big
at
subject.
this every night. I have 3D models of this thing I've been going through. And of course, the 3D model I have of it is the bigger version of it, and trying to see how they've squished everything down, with the new.
All you have to do, if you look at, and we'll go through that part of the video, but if you look at where they were talking about the size comparisons, you just look at all the assets they put in there, and then you go back to the original model for scale, and you'll get an idea. And that makes sense. And I think they give some real rational reasons to keep it smaller. I don't think everything needs to be bigger.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why. Well, I know why people are upset, because they want to get like they wanted to turn into like a capital ship size ship, which is kind of ridiculous to me, because the thing that
the Endeavor does that.
Well, I mean, and the thing that drew me to the Carrack was Firefly, right? The Carrack is pretty much my Serenity, right?
See that.
And so I think them actually kind of squeezing stuff together and making it kind of more kind of cozy and kind of eclectic even brings it more closer to Firefly and Serenity. So I think they're doing a good job with it. I love it. I can't wait to see it, because if it gets too big, then you can't maneuver as well. You can't land small places.
You have to have a bigger crew.
It's a whole different thing.
I see it as that underdoggy ship that's just tough enough that it can survive most places, but not so big that it dominates the space that it's in, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, me too.
I see this being a critical part of a fleet, because it is originally pitched as a military exploration ship. Right? It was a military exploration ship. So it wasn't like, hey, I'm going to go in and blow stuff up, but it's like I can handle my own. I'm a tough nut to crack. I can get out there and go on my own in the deeper reaches of space and be self-sustaining and be okay. And I can
for
do
a
my
while.
thing. Yeah, for quite a while.
Yep.
So that's good. And I liked how they also mentioned, I mean, we're already getting into it now, but I like how they mentioned the full medical bay and they went into all that stuff with it too. So I think it's really good. I think a lot of people, the departure is a lot of people wanted this ship and not to be their Firefly. They wanted this to be their Enterprise. And it's not it's not a flagship of that scale, you know.
No,
it's
it's
like
not.
because it looks smexier than an Endeavor. And they want that this is my main fleet exploration ship to go out into deep space farther than anyone has gone before and hold my own. And I get that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I know the Endeavor doesn't look like that ship, but that is that ship. That is the Enterprise type ship.
I don't think so. I don't think
I
the
do.
Endeavor is an exploration ship. I don't
It
understand why
absolutely
people
is.
think it is. No, I mean,
Why
what does
isn't
it do is because it's not. It doesn't seem like you can't take everything. What are you gonna? So as an exploration version of the Endeavor, what are you taking with you? The telescope, the science lab, the hospital? No, you can't take all.
Well,
of
not
them.
the
You have to
hospital.
choose.
Take all three.
I'm
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
Not the hospital.
The-
I would probably
the-
take
What-
the radar.
Which module?
The
Okay.
radar, right?
radar.
So you got the largest sonar you possibly can, like, or basically.
And the hangar?
No, I don't need
No,
the
the
hangar.
crew
The
section.
hangar.
The
is-
hanger hangs underneath, so
Crew
ha-
section,
the
man.
hang-
You
still
want,
takes
you want
up a
that
spot.
extended travel crew.
Yeah.
Or the
I
fuel pods.
I just don't see it as an exploration vessel. It's more of like a Hubble Space Telescope. Like,
But the
you know
whole
what I
front
mean?
end detaches to be able to go through jump points anywhere
Yes.
you
Yeah,
want and
leaving
explore.
leaving your entire like other like section
Entire,
behind.
they call it the workshop, but yeah, leaving the entire workshop in orbit or something. So you want to go explore a planet. We don't have teleportation. You know, we can't transport down that way. So you take the whole drop ship down to explore while you leave your other guys in orbit, and then you come back up. So that's your away team is the entire saucer section.
I see the Endeavor as more of a mobile lab. Than
And you could use it as
It
that.
could be both.
You could
fleet
use it that.
support. No, I know fleet support. I just don't see it as being a very successful. And maybe they are going to make it that way. And I don't know more of the ship. I haven't read. Maybe they have expressed that it's supposed to be.
I wish they
an
made the
exploration vessel.
Endeavor
I just
3
don't
different
see it that
ships, to be honest with you. I understand the modularity aspect. I wish they would have made 3 different versions of it myself instead of making it so modular. Hey, snap all this stuff in and do all that stuff. But that's fine. I get it for modularity.
Yeah.
It would have made a really cool exploration main rolled ship and then have a science lab one because it really has no guns. It has no way to defend itself.
Yeah.
So I don't see, if you're going to put it in a fleet, your Starfarers are more defendable than the Endeavor is. You are going to have a fleet to actually protect that ship if you want to use it in that type of application. And I don't see how you go deep space with it without having like a couple carriers and some, some combat
That's what I'm
ships
saying.
and stuff.
That's why I don't see the Endeavor as an exploration vessel. It's not a go on its singular vehicle.
But that's the way they sold it. It can be.
Well, I just don't see it that way. I see the Carrack as a standalone, go it tough by itself exploration vehicle. I think they might come out with other ones in the future that are like Enterprise-esque. But
when I see the Endeavor, I immediately think of Battlestar Galactica as one of the multi-role ships they've hodgepodge together in the fleet that you're trying to go and protect, but it also serves like a land of commons or something like that. Like you could have your congressional meetings, your council meetings there, and you can have your hospital there where you freight people to, and all your great science discoveries are there and all that stuff. But that's it. People wanted to make the Endeavor a pocket carrier, and they even verified in this video today that it'd be John Cruise thinking you won't be able to fit more than one Cutlass in that hangar at all.
It should fit an Apollo. I mean, at the very minimum, because that's
maybe I don't know. It's like how's the Apollo scale against the Cutlass now? I don't know.
And why does it need to
know.
fit?
It's
Why does it
bigger.
need to? Why does it need to fit in Apollo? Because Apollos can have top tier medical bays. They can have the same
but they
medical
don't
bays.
have to have top tier.
But
they
the,
can't- well-
this is why. The Endeavor is the only place that's a non-planet area or non-station area that can do surgical stuff the same level of planet. They sold it as it can do
Did they say
everything.
that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It can do every type of science, every type
But
of
they
medical.
also sold
then you
it
can do that.
as 2 Cutlasses will fit in that hangar.
Before
Okay,
the
that
Cutlass
That was
rework.
part of the sell.
Before the Cutlass
right.
rework.
Yes.
But again, they haven't even designed it yet, so I'm assuming about 2
It'll get
Cutlasses.
I
right?
don't
Yeah,
think. I
exactly.
think if you go with the rhetoric of what they've said with the Carrack, though, I don't think they want to continue to grow ships. bigger and bigger.
No,
But
they
the reason it's supposed to design to hold the two Cutlasses is because the Cutlass Red was one of the medical ships for.
Well, it was only designed to
right?
hold one, but they said with the hangar size of the time, it would with the Ben Lesnick it fits Redrick, you would be able to put two at that time. It was only designed to have one.
Sure.
It's much like the Valkyrie is only designed to have one car, but we know we've stuffed a lot more than one Cyclone inside Valkyries. So but it's only
Nobody
designed
would
to have
do
one.
that. That'd be silly.
So
they put their foot in their mouth. I mean, they even backtracked today on some of the Phoenix stuff. We'll get that in a bit.
Yeah.
So who knows what they're gonna do?
I think it's not really backtrack. I think they spoke out of turn or they were misconstrued a little bit, and then it's like instead of doubling down on it, they've kind of course corrected. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things. Like, yeah, we'll get into it, but it's definitely one of those things. So let's go through here. I'll try to get some semblance organization. Since we're already talking about the Carrack, I guess we can start with the Carrack. I mean, we're already into it that deep. So big changes on the Carrack.
Pages of notes.
Well, I do. Dude, I watched this whole thing, man. We did it. It was very interesting.
I did the same thing, except I put them all on little sticky notes, and I got about 20 little.
I used to do that, but it was like when I started writing the first page, and then I like went through all. I was like, nah, I just need to just go with it. And people still give me crap for writing, but that's just how my mind processes better.
I had that happen recently too, where like you're writing stuff down.
I do spreadsheets all day, but those are for like little blips. They aren't to like think out my whole thought at the time. So the Carrack originally started out at 123 meters in concept. It was 123 meters. It expanded over time with them doing the components. And we have to remember this, right? When the Carrack was originally concepted, the components were not defined in a solid state, right? They were keep shifting the size of guns, the size of components during all these last couple of years. They've adjusted them and adjusted them. I think they finally settled on the size of components they want. They've settled on where the gun scaling is for right now, at least. God, I hope they don't rework it again. But they've settled on all that. So now they've been able to go back through with the artist after, like John said, much debate and crunch things together. Because there was a couple reasons. Not only is it resource expensive to continue to grow these ships up to 200 freaking meters long, it gets crew expensive. Because you're going to have a crew. And it's something they keep trying to beat into everybody's head, and people just don't accept it. You need a crew for these ships.
Yeah.
They wanted to make this ship something you could go in with 4 or 5 buddies and have fun and not need 16 people to fly.
I also think they use a very systematic way of calculating weight of ships, which is just basically have volume, right? So the bigger the ship, the game will just say, hey, it's heavier, right? So it's like there's all those kind of things, right? So I don't know. Maybe that's not true, but I thought they had said that once. But
I think they probably use a lot of different algorithms to kind of figure out what makes sense for the gameplay revolved around. And one of the challenges CIG has overall with ship design is ships are supposed to serve a purpose in the game. They're still actively designing game design of like what those gameplay is. So it's almost backwards. Like you're building the tools to do gameplay before you have the gameplay idea of how you want that to work. So that's why we've seen things happen like they've mentioned with the Redeemer. They created the hoplite because it's more practical with that airframe. And then they went over and said, oh, you know, we know exactly what we need now. Let's make the Valkyrie, which obsoleted the Redeemer that wasn't even completed. So they go through this a lot with stuff. And that's fine because that's the type of development we do. It's like, you know, as things don't work in gameplay or they think this would be a better system, they can design the perfect ship as they have the gameplay. So I think you're going to see a lot of antiquated stuff like that.
Yeah. So just on the Carrack real quick. I mean, if you just think about it, right? 125 meters, that is 1 1/4 football fields or pitches long. That is a huge ship.
Very large ship.
Huge.
That's 5 890 jump swimming pools.
Yeah.
There you go. Yes, that's the way to think of it.
Well
exactly.
It's pretty big.
It is already huge. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be that much bigger for its role. I think it's perfect. It's going to be great. It's going to be cozy in there. You have all your stuff right there. You're going to be able to run it with 5, 6 people.
If you want to navigate dangerous jump points, you need something maneuverable. You don't want to fly a whole E. trying to figure it out. I mean, you want something that's going to be the Firefly. It's going to be have that badass pilot maneuverability, but you still have a small strong team of people doing the thing.
Absolutely.
But also, like, even like in the real world, like sailboat terms, like 125-meter sailboat, if you actually saw it while it was on the water, it would look
crazy,
insanely big.
Yeah. I agree.
See, they didn't even mention it today. Those 3 pods that are underneath that are also going to be not just for cargo. They said that, you know, they can, one of them could hold like a science station, one of them could hold like extra crew
medical
quarters, one of them could hold a medical if you wanted an extended medical.
Really capable medical, by the way. Like not quite top tier, but pretty darn close.
They already showed pictures of it. They're not even holding medical there anymore. It's already upstairs, right?
Yep.
No, but
show.
the pods.
They have
a pod.
But why would you need to have another medical bay if they already have a dedicated ship?
For deploying it. If you want to drop the pod on the ground when you're doing your whole exploration stuff. So you have an internal one.
I didn't even know the carrot could do that. Okay.
And a lot of people didn't, but the old school guys did, and they certainly called them out immediately.
We're
like,
going to hold them to it.
Yeah, we got to hold them to this stuff. What's going on here? I'm trying to find the... Okay, this one's good. I'm trying to find the most recent ship scale images and all that stuff. So we can look at that real quick.
Well, I heard a lot of hate today because of the landing gear changes, and I thought it was perfect to you know where they put them, and it also meant the ship was lower to the ground. So if there's some like concept pictures of those pods that actually have feet that like scissor jack on it.
Yeah.
So with that case, you don't need a special machine or whatever to pull those pods off and on. So you could just scissor jack those pods and drop them.
So this version of the Carrack is the 175 version, though. We don't have an updated side chart that shows the smaller variant.
Size?
Yeah, but I can't remember now the Retaliator. How long is the Retaliator? I think it's only 90.
It's definitely not 125.
No, I'm trying to think of something that's about 100. How big is the 600?
I think the Banu is
the Banu's way
something. No, I think it's 100 something, 125 maybe, or I don't know. Banu length, Banu merchantman length.
What's a Polaris? It looks about as long as a
Polaris is 160.
Oh yeah, you're right. No, Banu merchantman's 160. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
oh,
Banu's pretty big. Polaris is pretty big. I'm trying to think. Same length as 2 Constellation Andromedas. Okay. That makes sense.
Well, the picture of the Banu in your shot there. Oh, I see. There is.
Yeah. This one's from April of this year. So I know there's an August one out, but I don't think they've updated the Carrack on any of them because that's just newer stuff within the last couple months. They've like told us it's going back down to the 125-ish area and all that. So yeah. But anyway, I mean, if you look at the overall scale of ships, and you think about where the Constellation is, 2 constellations long, and it's going to have the maneuverability of what the Carrack's supposed to have and the agility of it. I don't think that's bad. I mean, I don't see the downside there for the crew complement. Now, if it was supposed to hold like 12, 15, 20 people, I get you. I totally am there with you. There you go. But it's not that ship.
Yeah.
It's just not. It was never meant to be that ship in the original description of the role. And people wanted to see it grow for capital, they would have had to increase crew size. And I think that would have put it out of the realm of what some people's gameplay would be like. So
well, that makes sense.
15 meters bigger than the Hammerhead. If it's 15 meters bigger than the Hammerhead, that's perfect. The Hammerhead's long, guys. I mean, it's pretty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's pretty dang long.
Plus, it still has all the stuff in there. It has the damn drone launcher room with all the drones. It has the snub fighter hangar in there.
Yep.
It has a pool table. It has that cool-ass bridge where they have the 3D globy thing and the seats in front. It has... it still has that little observation walk deck on top, I'm pretty sure. It has the modules underneath. It has... It's got everything in there. I don't see what the complaints are, man.
I don't
Bigger ain't always better.
I didn't even know there were complaints until you guys.
They're on the stream.
Oh, it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
It's pretty
I don't
hot.
know why I
There's a lot of
love
posts.
it. And I was one of the first guys to get one of those.
Yeah.
That was a no-brainer picking this thing up.
And they've kept the integrity of everything else. It's like, and some of the changes they've made actually make a lot of sense when you listen to explain it. Like they had originally the big map table, right? Now they're just using the globe for both, like the big VR globe thing in there. So
Yeah.
it makes sense because it just converts, right? I mean, you shouldn't need 3, 4, 5 objects across the bridge to do the one job that everything would do on one, right? So
Right.
yeah. So I think they're fine. I don't see any issues with this.
I don't either. And more size just for the sake of having more size makes no sense.
And when your system can't handle it anymore because you're always like adding bit larger and larger ships for no practical purpose at all, it just makes no sense.
Also, I always wanted the Carrack to be smallish, not small, but like manageable, because I always saw it as the ship that I could go out with like me and a couple friends. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't want to like have to like get the whole group together every time. I don't know.
Exactly. Just a few people out in deep space doing stuff.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to run 2 football fields to repair.
Yeah.
And the couple other things they spoke to regarding this, other than the fact they reduced it back down to the 125, was they talked about it's still got the 3 module detachable pods. That's what we were talking about with the science station or the air things, the detachable pods in the bottom. Sure. They changed up the landing gear, as you guys stated, because the other landing gear looked weird. And having non-wing based landing gear makes sense. If your wing gets knocked off, you can still land. Good point. It's going to be a high tier medical bay. They haven't just said if it's a level 3 or not yet. They don't know for sure. I would hope it would, to be honest with you. I would hope it would go to a full tier 3, like where you could, spawn at and stuff, especially if it's that type of exploration ship. And looking at the medical room here, I would hope so.
Well, look at that bed. It's got that whole scanning system. Yeah. The other bed, just normal beds, but that thing is like
so
crazy.
Going back to like Star Trek for a second, though, like I know it's not supposed to be the Enterprise, but it kind of feels like Voyager. I'm just saying. I think this is your ship.
Don't make me hate this ship because you mentioned the V word.
This is your ship, Captain Janeway.
Oh my God.
There was only one thing I noticed, and I went over this with a fine-tooth comb earlier, that I didn't much care for that the older model had. Was a staircase that led from the upper, where your little globe is, down to where there's a lift there now.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot more compact, so I don't think they have the room to put the staircase in.
And I get it. I miss that staircase.
Yeah, it was a beautiful staircase. I remember that. Well, I think Lorville's kind of jaded us to waiting for lifts because their elevators suck at Lorville.
Oh my God.
Yes,
definitely so. But no, the other than I hope they find out, and maybe we'll find a post about it a little bit more where we actually find out more about the tier of the medical bay, because I really. I don't want every ship to like have the high tier one, but I think if you're going like exploration style, especially in like what's supposed to be the higher end ship of that you should have that in there. I think that would be pretty important. All right, so we'll dive in some other ships here. I can't remember what the other one they showed was off the jump. Fast forward through his hand waving. I had some markers here. So that was... Well, let's go. We'll jump forward to the other Carrack stuff, and then we'll come back. So that way we stay on Carrack for a minute, because that's going to be the thing. Because otherwise, Carrack will come back up, and we'll dive back and rope into it. I know how this will go.
Yeah. Well, they started and ended with a Carrack. We can always do the same.
We could.
That was appropriate.
All right, we'll do that then. We'll come back to the Carrack. All right, because most of these we can breeze through a lot of them because they're just going to be discussion points. So, they talked a little bit at the beginning with the Vanguard, right? And how they're reworking the Vanguard's pod room, because there was a lot of complaints. Like, for those people that have a Vanguard, we haven't seen some of the new ones come online. They're supposed to be forthcoming with those. But what they're doing is they're widening the overall main fuselage of the spaceship, right? So that way you can kind of get around in there, because as anybody who's run around in things like the Freelancer or the present Vanguard, when the chair comes down for the gunner, you just got to sit there and wait because you can't even get around the thing. It's very, very rigid. And while I'm not a huge fan of like making that ship wider because I like the look of it, at the same time, it makes sense for the internal gameplay of what you're supposed to do, because in the other Vanguards, you have full stations there, right? Like things are supposed to happen.
I like it. I think it comes back to like them also having to do NPC pathing and stuff probably as well, but
Yeah. Here's a picture of how they're adjusting it from what the present state is. We have actually, they're doing the similar to what you see in like the constellation where there's a ring around it. And then there's the chair that's going to come down. So as long as you're walking around that aspect, you'll be able to. There's also a little pocket over in the left and right and stuff. So it's a lot more robust. This is looking from the back end of the ship back towards the cockpit anyway. So,
I love the bigger exit door.
Yeah.
That is
the one with a double door now instead of the single door on it. So I think that
is it the same size as the hoplite already has, or
it's a little wider than that.
Okay.
So they also talked about here where they're putting in some of these storage areas and stuff. Certain ones will have the double, other ones will have the single for like clothing and different aspects for the 2 crewmen on the ship. Because again, it is a long range chassis, right? I mean, they consider it that. This is the opposite view of looking from the cockpit back towards the back, so you get the wider door like that where you can see it. The only thing I think that would change in a lot of people's minds is the fact people were thinking about trying to put some sort of vehicle in some of these still, and I'm like, it's different now. I don't think you're ever going to be able to do that in these style of ships. Because I remember people like trying to force a dragonfly in the hoplite, right? It's like, oh, no.
Maybe a Nox or an X1, but
Gray Cat.
That would be put.
Gray Cat might fit. But it's pretty, again, it's pretty dark, but you can see the stairs that go up to the pilot seat and stuff like that. And then they move the components around in there. So that way you'll have access to the different components in the walls and whatnot and be able to adjust the ship. The thing I always comes up when they talk about these extensive type of things like repairing ships and all that stuff, most of these repair procedures have to be just from travel and usage rather than ship damage in my mind, because none of these ships are durable enough to like, oh, I'm going to run over repair the console, you know, and do these things like while you're under fire, because I feel like you're going to explode so easily. Yep. I do like how they kind of pull in and out, and they actually have the different aspects. Also, the stairs retracting there, and then there's a component in the floor. There's a lot of cool little things they're adding to the way they set all those things up.
Well, they talked about the Vanguards having double of all components because, and it makes sense because it is a heavy fighter, so it's going to have a lot more stuff than a normal, light or medium fighter.
Absolutely, yeah. So they'll have the double aspect of everything there. The other entrance item that they talked about here, and I think it was, where did they get on? Yeah, they talked about the warden pod. They widened the pod area. That's the main bulk of the ship. They made the bathroom much smaller. Double door in the back. We talked about. They unified the base meshes, and what this means is right now everybody knows when they created the hoplite, they basically had to change the mesh of what that ship was because they wanted to make it accommodate for the 2 rows of seat for a little troop carrier and all that stuff. They're going back through all of them, and they're all going to have the new mesh, so that way the ships are unified. That way when they make a change to one, they don't have to go back and say, oh, we have to make a special adjustment for each individual one that's still in development. So it just makes a lot more sense. I always wonder, though, where they store the components out on these ships, because I guess you could replace subcomponents, but some of these things are so huge you'll never be able to store them. Well, I was happy to hear they addressed it, right?
That was awesome. That was one of my biggest notes here about the different size components and what can be actually carried out and what's going to need,
an engine picker and a repair station.
Right. So like when you have a size 2 like shield generator that blows, you're like effed.
You have to go to a repair station. Unless it's a subcomponent on that shield generator that blew or something. If it's the whole deal, there's nowhere to go to replace it.
Which I have a feeling, and I don't know it, but I have a feeling that with bigger things, you're going to see subcomponents blowing out. You need replacement parts, but you're going to see the bigger components slowly getting like worn out and becoming less efficient, but probably never completely blowing out. If I were a guessing man, like, I don't know, maybe not, but
if they do blow them completely out at any point when you're in space, I think you'll have to go put in some sort of ship tow in the game. And we know physics wise they don't want to do that because it's just it renders hell on the server.
I would bet that the only way you're going to blow out the entire component is if it gets shot in combat or something like that.
I would think that'd be true. I'd also think that the way they're going to manage it is if your main primary whole component on size 2 is really bad, that just means you're blowing through subcomponents like really quick. You know what I mean? Like every time you work on it, boom, you're blowing it out. It's like if you change the spark plugs in your car and your engine's just a piece of crap, you're going to go through spark plugs like every other day. So until you go to a repair station, get the whole thing overhauled or replaced, and then your subcomponents will last longer. I hope they go that method, and then it won't be like you said, you won't have the whole major unit just going out in middle of space. It just won't be very efficient to run with all the other stuff.
It does make you wonder, though, about like, and somebody in Chad said something about it, but like the Crucible is supposed to be able to repair ships from like point A to point B, like, I mean, quite heavily, right?
Yeah.
And like, does that involve components? You know what I mean? And if so, like,
you would think,
are you gonna have a forklift on a Crucible to get like, you know what I mean, to cherry pick those things in? Or
you have the arms on the Crucible. Well, you have the arms interior and exterior. They have arms for both sides. So those arms that repair capitals, they have there. So I would figure they could operate like an engine picker, right? Just like
maybe
pull it out or whatever, or drones. Any of those things would probably work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they got all those things. The Harbinger, there was no major changes. Sentinel, they removed the antennas on the outside of it, and they're going to do something different, something a little more passive that maybe will like come out to like do the sensor array and then come back in, because they had so many little antennas like what you do on like a Carrack on that ship. They thought it was kind of weird, didn't look good. And the other major thing, other than the component sizes of 0 and 1, you could do yourself. 2 and 3, you have to go to repair station, and anything bigger than that's capital size. So that's a whole different ballgame. The other major change they talked about was the battlefield upgrades are gone. So they're not.
Well, they're not gone.
They're not gone as far as, oh, you've lost them out of your hangar if you have battlefield upgrades, but they're not going to be implementing them in the same way.
Well, it's like they're just a bundled group of things instead of like one thing. You still ordered a bundle off of Amazon, and you're still gonna get all the parts and things.
That's right.
You ordered.
So it's more like a purchase package, right? Like a bundle, like you said, a purchase package of items that you can swap in and out, rather than, hey, you slap on this battlefield upgrade and now it's a whatever ship. You'll be able to take the pieces that they provide that actually matter and do those different changes that way. Which I saw that coming a long time ago, because when they introduced battlefield upgrades, I'm like, what the hell is this crap? I'm like, are you going to go through and do all this? I really did. I was sitting there going, battlefield upgrade. Because this is where the modularity debate was like raging, right? And everybody was talking about the Warlock and the Avenger versus the air stuff. How do you change out the whole back? Oh, we're going to add battlefield upgrades and do these things. It was just not a good way to go with it. It was bad. So many levels of bad. Yeah,
John Creed did mention that they may implement some kind of mini tractor beam to replace size 2 and 3 components. That would be interesting.
It would be
kind of like your plot tool, but gets the bigger components out. I don't know how to do it, but
especially in some of those tight areas like that, I think it'd just be better to get stay. So I don't know. It really depends. They'll come up with something.
He just mentioned it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that again brought up the question to me, like for all these subcomponents you're supposed to have and all that. I don't know where you're going to store them at, because you would think you'd want to buy them, inventory them in your ship, right? Like much like you would on a fishing boat or something. You're going to have spare parts laying around.
I'm assuming like many ships will have subcomponents, but some of them, like a Hornet, maybe not. Maybe that's what.
That's true. Maybe not on a Hornet. I don't know.
But well, ships that are supposed
to. Oh, you go ahead.
I was gonna say that ships that are supposed to be long distance ships, I'm sure, will have spaces to store components. But short range ships, like they're short range ships, like are they designed to like repair on the go? I don't know.
And that's what I was gonna say. I mean, they even mentioned that they were gonna go back and add like little shelves to store extra component pieces in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Couple other things outside the Vanguard that they talked about. They talked about people had questions about the interceptors versus racing ships, like because most of those facilitate dual role right now. Like they've sold like the 350Rs and all those things. Is like, hey, this is your fast racing ship, but it's also an interceptor. That's why it has guns on it. They put distortion weapons, all this stuff. They're not changing this, but John has always wanted to separate the two. as far as having a interceptor class of ship and then a pure racing ship, just because he thought it made more sense. So I think that was important to note because I agree with that. I don't.
Me too. 100%.
Yeah, it could be the same exact thing, but maybe either it's a module difference or a frame difference or a variant or whatever. I don't think on NASCAR you need to have distortion cannons. I think it should.
Racing vehicles in general are always like going to be very specifically built design things to give you the slightest edge.
Yeah, you're not going to take away power resources to shoot guns when it's meant for a race.
Well, tell that to
not to mention
unless it's a
aerodynamics in Atmo.
Yeah.
In Atmo, you're fucking with your aerodynamics having two guns sticking off the side, you know?
Yep. Absolutely. So I think that's just, you shouldn't come with weapon stock. You can do aftermarket, I would hope. But that was an interesting thing he noted. I'm glad he agrees with that, especially since he's has a big
I do hope
what happens to that.
I do hope that if you want to win races, though, taking guns off your Miss Grazer like give you an advantage, because I just think it's weird that you're like driving around with this like.
Me too. I think it should give you like more power to deal with. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't take away from the power grid or something like that. Something makes it more responsive in some way,
or less weight, or I don't know. Like something.
Yeah, something would be good. They also mentioned that. We touched on earlier about the Redeemer, that it will be reworked as a proper gunship. It was always kind of dropship gunship combo, right? Because that's why I had all the big guns and the belly gun or the nose gun or whatever and all that stuff. Now it'll be a pure gunship. I really hope they go the way of that concept that we saw, the little stuff where it might be able to pick up vehicles and just be like almost an attack helicopter. I hope they go that way with the gunship idea. I think it'd be really cool like that and fill that niche. It's like a heavier version of the Valkyrie without being a troop transport. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Not like C-130 size, but you know what I mean?
I do agree that it doesn't seem to fit the Aegis style without like completely changing.
No. But they didn't have a style guide for Aegis at the time, so that makes sense too.
True.
Yeah. The Reliant, they're doing some changes on that. They're changing the rear. I might actually buy mine back now. If they do it. That thing, there's a couple things that are like really problematic for me. One is like when you're in flight mode in it, you can't get out of it.
Yep.
So if your ship's disabled,
they're
because
still
it's
not going to fix that.
They're not going to fix that, but they are going to make it the animation not centrically tied to the flight mode. So you will be able to fly in either mode.
Yep.
So because of that, as long as I have power, I should be able to rotate my ship even if I'm disabled, I would hope. But we'll see. And then they're going to change the back end so that way the cargo issues there. The only one I'm really interested in is probably the Mako in that anyway for the camera stuff and all those features. But I do like the B-Wing style. I just hate the way the thing flies right now. We'll see how I feel about it in the future. Let's see. Then we go on to, this is going to be a big topic here. The whole series.
Ooh.
Apparently Chris asks them about the whole series all the time. All the time.
There's so much underlying tech that needs to go in the game before they can put.
It's huge. It's the only thing holding, literally the only thing holding the whole series back is the tech. All the art's done on the thing as far as what they have for the base model and all stuff. Sure. But tech is what's holding it back. So there, for all the people out there in the forums and everything, they're like, hey, what about the whole, where's the whole done, blah, blah, blah. It's all technical stuff. And you can't rush tech when you're trying to figure out how to build something. you just have to figure out how to build it. I mean, it's like, you know, you can only throw so much. It's more a technical issue than anything. And this brought up another huge important point I wanted to go over in the perception of what they actually tell us and what we perceive for stages of development to mean. They talked about how this has been in final art since a year ago almost, right? The whole scene we saw, final art. And generally when Disco talked about ships along the pipeline, whenever he did these RTVs or the ship shapes, he's always talked about what stage they are, if they're in concept, if they're in production, if they're in final art. I feel like CIG, as far as what they've explained here, defined it more clearly, but they always, the thing that bothers me about the way they define it is they always give the perception like it's our mistake. Like it's our mistake, it's your mistake, community, for thinking final art means it's almost done.
Yeah.
That's not what it means. And I accept their definition that that's not what it means. But whenever you're getting us all hyped about a ship, you're like, hey, it's in final art, like it's going to be here anytime. That is their own fault for saying it that way and presenting it in that manner. Now that they've come back, and I like the course correction where they've corrected it, final art means nothing more than that. You still have technical aspects. You still have to do all the technical final pieces of it. You have to have all the different grids and stuff. So final art doesn't mean it's going to come out in a week. Doesn't mean it's going to come out in a month. And per quoting John Kerr, doesn't mean it's going to come out within even a year. Final art only means that the art's done. So for all the videos we could go back to where they're like, hey, and it's in final art, do not get hyped about it, guys. It doesn't mean really relatively crap at all. And so I think that's important to note for everybody.
Well, you know, they mentioned that the German team is the one who's going to be working on this issue.
As far as technical,
and right now they're still trying to get the object container streaming, you know, smoothed out and buttoned up. And as soon as that's done, then they'll be jumping over to do these little physical grid, you know, the things that needed to get these holes to work properly.
It was really interesting to me to hear that in their final art process that doesn't mean that they're done with anything optimization for the game. It doesn't mean that they're done with anything as far as LODs. LODs come after final art. So everything to put it in the game beyond the high poly count, this is the whole ship stuff, still has to be done beyond final art.
Well, you know, I was irritated because, you know, they had this expo this year and it was amazing and awesome. And they had the F8 Lightning out there. They had, you know, the 300i rework out there. They had all these ships out there. And the Idris too. They could have stuffed it, you know, just put it one way or the other, either collapsed or expanded, and just set it out there for us to look at. But yeah, like you said, the final art isn't final art, so it wasn't that.
Exactly. And we don't know how that renders and all that stuff either.
Yeah. I mean, the same with the whole series, or, you know, the, you know, all the reworks of the freelancers. It would have been nice to see those in the expo too, because they're coming out in 3.4. And they had the Anvil Hawk out.
Yep, they did.
I think irritated.
I think some ships are prettier in the current state and lit properly than others. Is probably the obvious answer. So it might be mostly done, but not presented in the way that they want to for that too. You know, so. You know, like those F8s, I guarantee, are just external models of like, hey, look at this. There's nothing inside. They're all hollow. Much like they talked about the Kraken, which I know Burke and everybody would be disappointed to hear, but it's like that's probably more than 2 years away for the Kraken, because all it is they actually took people off some of the other ships I've listed here. They took people off of, I think it was the might have been the 890 briefly. No, it was the Orion was paused because they took that team off, and no, it was the Carrack and the 890. They paused that team just to make the exterior of the Kraken. So there's nobody obviously working on the Kraken at all, and nor scheduled to be anytime soon. But just for CitizenCon to roll out the concept of the ship and show the exterior, they did that part. So none of the internals or anything like that are done on the Kraken. But as far as the whole series go, the challenges that they're still facing that haven't been solved yet are they can't spawn it on a landing pad because it doesn't have landing gear. So it would just blow up. They have no way to spawn a ship right now, technically in the verse in space, because we don't have all those things. In order to facilitate that, they have to have docking in. That way you can moor the ship to a space station or something like that, so they don't have docking done to do that aspect. And the first level of docking they have to do will be tying the fighters, much like the snubs and stuff, to the constellations and those things. Same technology as all the other docking. That's what they'll be doing first before they even get to mooring the ships to the space stations and those aspects. So they'll be working on all that. You cannot sell cargo or buy it from a floating spaceship, which I think that's not 100% accurate. It could be a bug. I've seen people hovering near Lorville, or hovering, not near Lorville, Levski, and being able to sell stuff at Levski without technically landing at Levski. It could be maybe an influence bubble or something like that, but I don't know. So maybe that's not the way it's supposed to work, but right now I think you kind of can. They want to wait till large cargo is actually in the game. There'd be no way to load that ship with 1x1 boxes.
No.
My God, they said, the resource thing. If you had like 4,900 and some little tiny 1x1 boxes, try to attach to that ship.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah. So they don't even have the
It's
large
so
cargo
bad.
in to do it. So they got to fix that first. The interesting thing that I didn't know was the local grids. All local grids are currently static inside ships. That means if it's an articulating ship, much like the hulls are, where it expands and contracts, they don't have a malleable tech that generates that local grid to physicalize it that goes from like this size to this size and says, okay, this is now the local grid for this yet. So that tech's not in the game, so they haven't said it, and that's another thing that I think they said the German team was going to be working on. Yeah. So that's all I got for the hull. What do you guys think about as far as the technology and stuff on this? Do you think they need to hammer down on this stuff, or what? I don't know. I don't know a way to speed this up. There's no way to speed up tech. You can't.
I don't, but I don't think it's that. I mean, I think it's obviously I'm gonna get crucified for this, but I don't think it's that important yet, because the whole E solves a problem that's more complicated when it comes to the economy, right? You're solving something like there's so many other fundamental things that you put in the game before we start talking about long distance, large scale like transport. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you look at the core technologies that are required for the hull, C, D, E, et cetera, I mean, some of them are required for other things as well, right? So, for instance, the I guess like the ship state machine or whatever, the state management system, which is also going to be needed to be able to uncouple the ship animations from landing mode and all that kind of stuff for the Reliance and everything else, so you can change your ship configuration without having to go into landing mode, like with the wings on the Vanguards and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to happen anyway. It just so happens that the hull C, hull D, hull E needs that to be able to do anything useful with it. The other thing was I forget what they called it, but it was where like with the light occlusion or something, where sometimes like with the Avenger had that issue when you opened the back door, all you saw was black until you actually went out of the ship, right? So that's going to be needed. They need to fix that anyway, obviously, so that's needed for the hulls as well. So I think basically if they just keep on trucking the way they are, eventually the systems will all be there to support the hull, C, D, E, etc. And it'll be just in time, because they'll have docking working on the stations, et cetera, et cetera. So I think, I don't think they need to like drop everything to make the hulls work. I think they just keep going, and eventually they'll work.
Yep.
So it's all good.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah, I hope as far as those ships go that they just keep hammering on the tech. I'm more worried about the tech than the ship, for sure.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
I just want, we've had our constellations for so long. It'd be awesome to just be able to run in the back and finally jump on our snub fighter, be able to,
Well, that tech stretches so far. I mean, it's not just the snubs. It's not just docking to stations. It facilitates the operation of ships like the Caterpillar, separation of all those assets, facilitates things like the Endeavor we talked about, anything that's got ship separation, anything that's got different detachable items. And this might even extend, I don't know for sure, but to some of those pods like we talked about on the Carrack. If you have pods that detach and reattach and stuff like that, and like are operational items, I think it's got to, have some aspect of docking and these different types of technologies to do that, because that's how it moors to the ship. So I really hope they are able to solve that issue and then move forward on at least those aspects. Large cargo would be amazing, even right now, minus the whole hull series thing, because large cargo, I don't want to pick up 1,000 boxes from somebody's ship. We tried to do that in the beginning, right? We'd blow up a ship and there'd be 1,000 boxes rain down, run around, pick up these 1x1 boxes. I want those big ass boxes. Like I can grab 2 of them and make some money. Come on. This makes more sense to me. All right, let's move on to the next big dog that was featured heavily and had an amazing walkthrough video put by Teller. We've watched a lot. The Idris.
I saw that walkthrough video after the fact. But like, it didn't show off anything different than we haven't seen in any of the other like I feel like it was just showed off basically what we've seen in the vertical
Pilot Ready
slices.
Room wasn't in the original one.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Well, and the only reason I mentioned that is because, like they pointed out in this, they're still making changes to the Idris. One of the reasons we haven't seen it, they're still making changes, and not just because, oh, this is needed for the ship. They're making these changes because it makes sense for the story of Squadron 42. It makes sense for like how the ship's going to be used. So you have to remember, the Idris isn't just a combat vessel that we're, like many of the capital pilots like me, are excited about. It is a set piece. It is a scene. Yeah. It is a hero home base that you will be on throughout the Squadron 42 story and stuff like that. So it has to facilitate not only a practical role for combat and be this like epically cool thing, it's got to facilitate the role of that campaign for single player, and that's a huge portion of it. So that alone right there is one reason they don't have plans right now on when they're going to release it. Secondly, they said that they don't have a clear path on how the process of upgrading from a P to an M is, because there is mention of desire to want to be able to do that without having to melt the P and just get an M or buy a package to get the M. They want to have a way that people might be able to convert something towards a military type version, even though they want to keep them limited. Like I said, final art only covers the art, not the release date of the game, even though it's been in final art for a long time. There's other things still need to be done, damage states and tech things on these type of ships.
The biggest thing was they just didn't want to ruin it for Squadron 42.
Yeah, and they've said
that sense of awe.
Yeah. And that's something I've been assuming for a long time.
And it's great they came out and finally verbalized, because we've all assumed that, right, to a certain point. Yeah. But it's great that they've come out and said that Chris and Aaron just don't want this out until Squadron 42. So I could see this dropping as a release ship when Squadron 42 drops. So that way you got something that really excites the MMO people, and also it's a good hype for the release of the game. So you're going to get your Idris and get this other stuff. So that's when to look for it. Whenever Squadron 42 happens, there you go. And they said straight out, they're still adjusting the ship for Squadron 42. It's not quite done where they wanted it at for that story. The other major aspect is they need to have NPC crews in before they ever releases the game. You have to have NPC crews at some functional state before they're going to give you the ship.
They didn't say that absolutely. They said that you would really be able to use it without more. You wouldn't be able. They said you wouldn't be able to fly it by yourself without NPC crew, but they didn't say they wouldn't release it without NPC.
The reason I'm going to say it's stronger than maybe they verbalized it, but yeah, I think they didn't say that. You're right. They didn't say they wouldn't release it without NPC crew, but they said that there's no practical way to operate the ship solo. You might be able to fly it, but you couldn't run the full vessel at all.
But there's
but here's the thing:
a lot of people have friends, so there's a reason that they could release it in the game. It's just this forewarning, right?
Here's the thing. Right now, they don't have the gameplay in there of not being able to just fly a ship solo. That is a whole separate gameplay they need to add in. Like, you just physically cannot fly it by sitting down in the pilot seat and fly it. When they say they don't have that capability right now.
When they say can't fly it solo, they just probably can't manage all the be required in a normal operation.
you can get behind the stick and drive the ship. They've said that.
Yeah.
But there's a huge amount of remote and manned turrets. They're not wired to the navigator or pilot seat. You're not firing that thing like 95% of the weapons without that. If there's something happening in engineering, you're running back hundreds of meters to go back to the engineering site. I mean, it's there's nothing there to... it'd be a freighter more than anything at that point. And even then, it probably wouldn't be very practical.
I don't know. I think they need to add a gameplay in that you have to have at least 2 or 3 people on these big ships sitting in seats and physically doing something in order to even get that thing off the ground.
But how are you going to do that for like steering capabilities? Like,
not necessarily. Yeah, not necessarily. It's things be like, yes, there's certain scenarios where do certain things unless you run back and forth between like like, unless you're gonna land it on a planet or like whatever.
Like weapon systems comes to mind, much like what we struggle now with the Retaliator.
But, I see it as like trying to sail a large ship. You sail like a 100-foot sailboat by yourself probably in the real world.
Not very well.
No, but I mean, like, you know what I mean? But you could do it. But you hit a storm, or you try to like come into port, or you know what I mean? If you're out in the open blue ocean flying around, you'll probably be okay. But anything else, you might start hitting things if you don't have friends.
Absolutely.
I just don't want the ability for somebody to jump on an Idris or a Javelin and you know, okay, I went to get some food or something, or I had to use a restroom. Somebody jumps in the seat and ran.
Well, it shouldn't.
Why
be.
not?
It shouldn't be anyway, because you're gonna have friends or NPCs on there.
Yeah,
I get it, but
like I don't want it to be arbitrarily like blocked either. If they're gonna have that, it should have through thematic things. Like
if you leave
maybe in order to turn the engine on, you can't turn the engine on from the pilot seat. Maybe you have to go down to the engine room, spool the engine up, warm it up. Maybe it takes like 5 minutes to warm up. Then you run up to the pilot seat. You know, there's those kind of things. One person could still do it, but you're just like, it's like less.
It's gonna take them a half hour to get the ship prepped and like even
well, that would be fine.
Yeah, those type of things. And hopefully, if it's a bridge like any other, especially on Idris M, it would have a secure lock. Like you would have to go through, like, know the combo or have permission, all that stuff. And if you didn't lock your Idris and you're flying by yourself, I would applaud anybody who steals your damn Idris and runs into the station. I mean, come on. You just left an Idris out there and you were soloing it and you left it alone by itself. So I would hope that would happen just to teach you a lesson. But no, the reason I still feel strongly the NPC crews aren't going to be in is because the next real stage of development for AI and NPCs is going to be nearing the release of Squadron 42. Because you're going to have fully autonomous, not necessarily like what they want to have in the MMO, but you're going to have some aspect of that in Squadron 42. Thanks, champ. You're going to have some aspect of that in Squadron 42 in order to facilitate that game by itself. Without any caps, without anything, if you don't have AI going there, Squadron 42 won't work. I mean, right? I mean, you have to have AI to have the single-player campaign. Once that happens, since it's directly tied to the same mechanics, the way they did it to the MMO, we'll see the next level of AI that's more autonomous. It's operating, doing different things. So I think you will have NPC crews come in to the game around the same time. That's just my own estimate, but it makes sense that you could have at least really basic crew that maybe you could order and maybe you could do some things and run some systems for you. So that makes sense also with an Idris drop. All those things coming together would be good. But that's how I feel about it. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think they're right or wrong for holding it till Squadron 42? What's everybody's take on that?
I think they're right.
I think they're right, but I think that with that mentality, they made a mistake putting it in the game files where people could give us a tour of it.
Or did they?
Or did they?
So sure sold a lot of them this last anniversary sale.
That's true. It's true.
Right, Luke?
Yep.
Right, Captain Richard? Saw Captain Richard has a bar up there. Ridiculous third Idris fund on top of his stream. I was checking out.
I already have 2, and so it's just like you're like, well, do I go for that third?
I don't even have one.
It must be nice.
I don't have
those kind of real world issues.
Damn, I'm just hoping to get I want to get my Polaris fund back so I can buy it back because I melted all with everything else to get the Kraken. But we'll get there. All right, let's move on from the Idris. They talked about, just briefly, some ships here. The Vulture. They talked to probably, they're going to maybe come in with salvaging. We don't know. If it gets done before or after or whatever, then they'll put it out there. Starliner, Starlifter will be starting to work on after the Mercury's done. Novaton.
Did they say when they're starting on the Mercury, or have they?
I think they said something about maybe starting something on it next year. I don't know. I didn't get the details on the Mercury when it's going down, but they just said in order of way that would go, because since they develop certain game aspects when they're doing these things, it's like it would happen after the Mercury. So
it wasn't soon though.
It wasn't soon. If it was next year, it would have been late next year. So I don't think it's going to be the whole thing.
Well, they had a lot of ships, they said, for next year. They said the Merchantman they're going to start next year, the Pisces.
Which puts the Merchantman at a year or two until it's done, but yeah.
The Genesis next year, they said.
Well, if that's going to be next year, then you'd have to assume that the Mercury is going to be next year because they said that would be after the Mercury.
Yeah.
Right. The Endeavor, they said, much to people's chagrin, it is still going to be a modular ship because apparently people were like started a rumor saying they weren't going to do modularity anymore in Star Citizen. I don't know where that happened, but whatever. It's still going to be modular. They're not even working on it yet, but it may not hold 2 cutlasses anymore. We already kind of noted that. The 890 jump, they said, is 200 meters long. It's got a 25-meter pool in it. That's a big ass pool.
That's huge.
That's a huge pool.
It's a big fucking pool.
The pool's bigger than a lot of the spaceships we have, so maybe you could double as a spaceship washer. But yeah, that's crazy.
Can't wait to see how many spaceships people manage to get into the pool.
And they also mentioned that it will have capacity to hold 2 85Xs, but it only comes with like 1 in the ship, but it would actually hold 2 in its hangar. So if you have an extra one or whatever, there you go. They've mentioned they paused work on the Orion for right now.
Yeah.
So that's not happening anytime real soon. They paused any work on. Okay, so the Kraken and stuff like that. That's not even like whatever. Not next year. So that's not happening. The rovers. They're going to start production on the other rovers that were still needed in the game within the next 12 months.
I'm surprised they're not doing anything with the tumbrel tank. I mean, yeah, we don't really have any gameplay for it yet.
How would you move it?
Well, you could just spawn it out on a pad and just drive it around would be fun enough.
I guess. They must have said that's not a high priority to get a tank that will blow up every other vehicle on the ground. And all you can do with it is spawn it right there, right? So,
come on, Tank Wars? That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So
we get 50 SpaceBros out there having fucking Tank Wars.
Yeah. Nope. So no dreams of Tank Wars. Well, they did mention because like we want to put them all on the deck of the Kraken, like some people kind of photoshopped together like 100 Nova tanks on a Kraken deck, like that one military video that was going around.
Yep.
So that would have been cool. Yeah, no way it'd fit in a Starfarer. It's almost how many meters tall is that tank? Wasn't it like 10 meters tall, or it's stupid tall? These are huge tanks.
Huge.
It would never fit in the door of a Starfarer. Now, if they made different vehicle attachments instead of those the big liquid tanks in the bottom of Starfarer made that way, but not driving it in there. You're going to need the Star Lifter or one of the other things like that, and they're not even working on those right now. So Tonk's a long way from any time. They did say that it should hold atmosphere inside of it, though. But with no airlock, if you open the door, if you open the airlock, you just kill everybody inside. Everybody doesn't have their helmet on, though, so that's a problem. Prowler, it's not currently in production, but they did say that they've hinted that might be starting to work on sooner than I thought it would, because I didn't expect that at all, right? So the Prowler, but apparently Elwyn wants to work on that one, and they want to build it in LA.
Yeah,
I was like, that's cool.
I'm not super excited about it, but
no, it's a neat ship. I don't think it's really a big needed role right now. I do want to see how it works because it's going to be using the render to texture for piloting it, right? Because it has no windows.
Yep.
Right.
I was like, that'd be kind of cool to see, to have like a hologram visual thing. I'm like, wow, that'd be kind of wild. I don't know if it's really needed right now, but it'd be sure as hell neat to see, I think.
Yeah.
The Banu Merchantman starts production next year after the Carrack. No info until then. So if it's going to start production, you're still a couple of years away on that one, probably. And then, okay, so we'll talk quickly about the Starlifter, no info, Apollo, no info. And let's talk about the Connies real quick with the Phoenix and Taurus with the cargo that we were alluding to earlier, right? Where they updated the Phoenix. There was a misconception or it was misstated, or something where the Phoenix at some point somebody said was supposed to have either a hidden cargo or a passive link thing or something like that, right? They've come out and they've corrected this now. It is not going to have that. It will have some sort of shielding that reduces the signature of the cargo, but it's not going to hide it anywhere. It's not going to do any of that. It's if they come aboard your ship to inspect, they're going to see the cargo sitting right there in the cargo band. It's just, I guess. But they might be able to mask it a little bit or something like that. No hidden cargo on it. The Taurus has a cargo pocket where the bottom turret used to be, I guess. I didn't know that, but okay.
I'm not sure we knew that. I think that's just kind of what they've come up with as far as where they're going to be able to kind of hide cargo on that thing.
Right. I thought they had, I'd never heard that before, but they acted like it was like or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never been a huge Connie guy to begin with. I think they're okay ships.
Yeah. Just
not really my style. But at the same time, again, for people that were upset about it because they were like, well, your player can find. There's no hidden compartment on your ship a player won't be able to find, just so you know. It's for AI and customs and stuff like that.
Unless they let us actually just set things down, then we might be able to find.
You might be able to, or it might bug and fall through the floor and you lose your secret cargo.
Yeah.
but yeah, I get what you're saying. I'd hide everything in the bathroom because nobody wants to go in my bathrooms anyway.
In the toilet.
Just in the vicinity. I don't think anybody would want to go in there unless you have a double layer spacesuit. But yeah, so that's the main updates for that type of stuff. So what they talk about, and then the Pisces starts next year, which I didn't even think about that. It's the Carrack snub ship. It's about the Merlin side of stuff. They had a Merlin image inside the Carrack, right? To kind of give you a scale for what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people were hoping that, and we'll bring up the Carrack images here again. A lot of people were hoping that the Carrack, here's the top down. Let me find the big image. Where he first flips it up. But they were hoping that the Pisces would be a little bit larger than a snub and be more like a functional. There we go. It's kind of blurry. There it goes. Tights in. I like this image here. Bring it up on the main screen. Come here. There we go. So they had the main images here, and this shows the better of the scaling size difference of what you can see there, where the images on the left are the old one at 170 after they blew it up, and then shrinking it back down, how they compressed everything to fit more in the 125 model to make it a little bit more practical, don't have to have increased crew, and keep the maneuverability standard up. The Pisces part, it'll still just be basically a snub just to get from A to B and get down. It'll be a very small ship, but more geared towards the exploration role of the ship. They've shortened certain areas, like we mentioned before. They shortened the map table in order to make the bridge not so elongated with a lot of wasted space that wasn't used for anything really. And they made it. The interesting part I saw was the hallways. It's hard to see on the stream there because we're zoomed out quite a bit, but the hallways, they had a lot of wraparound type aspects to them where you went around the hall like the parallel thing to bring symmetry. What they did was, in order to shorten those, they just made them direct connect, like all the rooms connect together. And so it was a lot easier. Instead of making here's a doorway to go to this room and a hallway to go to this room and a hallway to go to that room, they just kind of made it more optimized for all those aspects. So it made sense to me, the changes they made. I don't think there's an issue with it.
I think the only thing that looks like significantly different is the bottom floor where the pods are. They look smaller. Like everything else looks about comparable.
Yep. The pods are definitely smaller, but considering they're not technically cargo, just straight cargo pods, and they're supposed to be some sort of medical base, since they haven't really designed all those things, or for whatever type of role they serve when you deploy them, they could be any size they want them to be, right? So I mean, it doesn't really be. People are immediately going to be like, "Oh no, I'm wasting my space." I'm like, well, they haven't designed what it was, so. I mean, I wouldn't stress about it too much. But yeah, they talked about all this stuff throughout that. So overall, everybody happy with the Carrack changes or sad? I know Scorpion said he's good with them.
I'm happy. I'm excited.
Toy, are you bitter that they shortened the Carrack?
No, I'm fine with it. My only question was this: is he mentioned that there was an access in the back of the Carrack. and I'm guessing it's at where that third pod is to the right. There was an elevator there in the old model. And I'm guessing that one, you know, kind of works like the reclaimer, where it just comes all the way down to the ground, picks you up, and you can take up.
I'm presuming so, because Disco alluded to there was a ramp in the front and back.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
But I don't remember there being a ramp in the back, and if there was, there's probably not anymore. There's definitely still a ramp in the front. But he did say there was an access to the back, so I found that interesting that he said it that way, and Disco said it.
Disco's also, Disco's also. Misstating things. All right.
Again, if you guys got questions, all you got to do is put !mark questions in chat, and we'll get to them through the form body and do the thing. Yeah, you can see there the subdeck. It's not as reduced as I thought it was, though, on those cargo pods, because it did look smaller, but they're not so much smaller.
They look a bit smaller.
A little bit. I thought they were more substantial. That the impression I saw was like more substantially small.
But there's a good chance they were probably too big. You know, on the blown.
Well, the whole ship, like, look at it. I mean, it was pretty. It was nearing capital size pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The old set.
Yeah.
I just wish they would have thrown a model of a Ursa in that, you know, little box, just so we had some scale on how tight it fits.
I think the ship looks badass. I mean, it looks...
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be bigger than that. That looks really cool. I'm very happy with the way it looks from head to toe.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be buying mine back. That's in my buyback eventually.
Yeah, it kept everything. It kept the turrets. It kept everything. So
the look, the feel of it, everything feels good to me. I don't know. I love what they did with the legs here, because before they had this huge, like, spider, like, what have you done? It looked like my son playing with Legos, where he's like smashed up toys together. I was like, it didn't look like it belonged. This is going to look so slick when it's flying, when those feet retracted into the ship, and just the profile of it's going to be amazing. I think
it's going to be. Yeah, I love it. Like, I think it's going to get as ever. It's going to. I can imagine crashing that and sliding on the ground in the snow. Like,
oh my god,
it's gonna be amazing. And then at the end, you're like hanging over the cliff edge, and you see through.
Of course, yeah. Of course, Luke thinks about ways it's gonna look when he crashes it. Right? That's the first thing he thinks. Oh, that's gonna be so cool crashing. I love when he went with the big globe feature. I love this aspect. I can't wait to see it actually function. Much like what we see inside even the 600, right? To have that like big map glowing ball where everything like is plotted out. Because I want to be able to stand around. Can you imagine using FOIP? Right? You're using FOIP. You're talking with your buddies inside the thing, and you're all pointing out different aspects of like where you want to go, or making plans in a circle around a big radar system like that. It's going to be cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think it's interesting because they're using the same interface, big ships. Like, obviously it makes sense because they designed the copy and paste it into like you know, the Javelin, the Idris, like, or all the other big ships. But yeah, I like it. It's cool. I think it's going to be valuable. I wonder how it's going to work, but like, I think it's kind of.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I hope they make it so, like, you know, when we watch that vertical slice or whatever, I hope we can actually access a terminal, you know, put in our map of whatever area we have in it, and actually like set waypoints and stuff.
Right.
Like that.
I want to be able to
so
like.
Awesome.
Yeah, I want to be able to zoom in on that thing and like select targets of things either on the not like on like a planet or like in the space, and be like either set it as a group point for people to see, like, oh, target this ship, or let's go here on the map, like here's our rendezvous point. Things like that could be really cool from there.
Yep.
Absolutely. I think the thing I'm going to find the most interesting is how it operates with, like, up here. I assume, like, if say you're the captain of the ship, where do you sit at, or do you stand? Because I feel like he stands up on this upper level of the bridge, right where the map is. Like, you're at that console, or you're.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? Like, he'll either be standing back here. If I can draw it in a different color, probably blue's probably a bad one. He'd be standing back here, like operating, looking at the map stuff, or he'll be up here at the window, like looking out, right? Looking out that way. Because if you look at the below, those guys aren't anywhere near that map aspect, right? They're going to be in those chairs, and like that way. Are they going to be able to communicate from top to bottom real easy? I mean, how's that going to work? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. comms go out because I got EMP'd. I'm just gonna yell down the hole at him, Joe. Joe, you okay down there? Because like you said, they eliminated that sweeping staircase thing. But it's really neat. I love the hanging chairs. They're so badass. Oh, crew beds, all that stuff. I got a lot of good images.
I hope they allow us to like swap out the pool table for like a air hockey table too. That would be
Oh my.
I don't think that'll happen, but
I don't think so either.
I'm not.
Why
holding
not?
my breath
Because
on
they're
that.
going to have air hockey on the Javelin. They showed the air hockey.
that's it. I want a refund. I didn't get my air hockey. That's it, man. It's all over. Game over.
Yeah.
That'll be a war bond upgrade next year.
Oh,
I'm just
God.
waiting for the ship that has the football field in it that I need. Like, I'm thinking, I don't know what ship that's going to be, but
All right.
Kraken on top, maybe.
Cracking on top. Could be.
Yeah.
You never
Football
know.
field.
Yeah.
Could happen. All right, let's see here real quick. We're gonna go
18-hole
over.
golf course.
Let's see if they had any summary on the updates. Oh yeah, we did want to mention that the update on the lawsuit thing, even though we generally don't talk about it.
Oh yeah, that.
So the Crytek versus CIG, the judge basically granted the dismissal
Okay.
of that. So that's been thrown out. Of course, Crytek has the ability to appeal it. But yeah, he's granted the dismissal. So apparently they didn't show merit at this stage to do anything with it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens long term.
Yeah,
Because
it's 21 days for them to file a third amendment. So
yeah, we'll see. What they do.
keep wasting your money, Crytek. Go ahead.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, they must think it's somewhat valid, but we'll see what happens. Whether that's going to be a real thing. As far as the updates, I don't have a summary of like anything that changed on the roadmap anywhere. I think everything's progressing pretty nominally from what I saw. I was looking at here in the background. But I didn't see anything. It looks like all the tasks are still on point. Still quite a few tasks. But again, tasks are relative. We don't know what that means, right? Whether it's, we've talked about this at length, where it's 1, 2, 3, 40 items. I am excited that hopefully we'll get those VoIP improvements in. Mining stuff. I feel like mining's pretty good at the state it is. I don't know how they're going to improve it beyond that. I look forward to seeing what that is. The ships are really the thing, and like we talked about earlier, and then the business district. Those are pretty the main things to get excited about. Core tech-wise, just more object container streaming stuff. Video comm improvements should be interesting to see if those function well or how that works. But just stay tuned. We'll know here in the next few weeks, right?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Either way, end of the year's coming, whether they want to be ready for it or not. So it's a trucking our way. All right. Anything else you guys want to add to any of that before we go to the next phase of questions and do all that stuff and get that part started?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm good.
Negative. All right. Let's find out when you guys are going to be on next. Go around the room and do that, and then I'll dive into questions here. We'll start with Scorpion so he doesn't fall asleep on me. What's Saturday when you be on next and all that jazz?
Actually, I will not be on tomorrow morning. I'm going to actually take a rare weekend morning to hang out with family. So I'll be on Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. Be there, be square. Yep.
What am I going to do in my
It's
morning?
true. I don't know, man.
I don't know what to do now.
Maybe I'll hop on in the afternoon sometime if anybody else is on. Do anything.
Oh, we'll be doing some stuff for sure.
All right.
All right. Let's go over to Luke. When are we going to find you on? What's going on?
I am going to stream tomorrow a little bit. I'm not sure how long or
Okay.
exactly when. I think probably like 11-ish when I normally jump on. My time, which is
Central.
Central, yep.
I'll tell you when your time is.
Wow.
But I don't know if I'll stream forever. I have like take care of side project thingies, and but it should be on tomorrow. Yep. And then if not that, then Monday. So.
Okay. Toy, how about you?
I don't know. After the show's over, I gotta go get my run in. I still run 3 miles every day. And I'll probably come home and do a little stream tonight.
Cool.
I've been trying to stream every night, so.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, look for Toy this evening then. And Mr. Drones, how about you, buddy?
I'll be back on Sunday, 11:30 in the morning, Eastern time.
Okay. Be sure to check out Mr. Drones then, too. I very well may be on stream tonight for a little bit because Burke's ruined my soul as far as streaming's gone. Because now I like am total insomniac and I sleep sometimes in the afternoon. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'll probably be on directly after the show, and we'll be giving away some more key codes and other stuff like that. One thing I did want to mention before I forget, real quick here, is we are running a beautiful promotion here. I got to use them for the SpaceBros Holiday Hammerhead giveaway.
Woohoo!
So make sure you guys are entering that. If you haven't entered that yet, it's !hammer in chat. That'll take you over to the link where you can enter this amazing giveaway. We are giving away key codes in mine, the Fuse, and Scorpion's channel during each broadcast where you can get bonus entries, all those things. Also, check out our social media. I do put some on there now and then, and you can get bonus entries from that and just watching our shows. Otherwise, do all the tasks on there and do that. In addition to that, and this is a global giveaway, by the way. Everybody's available to do that one. This one is a mostly global giveaway. We're also doing a Nintendo Switch. So if you've wanted a Nintendo Switch or you know somebody else does, there's your opportunity to win one from the SpaceBros. So you can get that by !Switch in chat. We're also giving away a code or two for another giveaway I don't have posted up there. And that's my personal channel giveaway of we're doing 4 starter packages every Sunday, and you can get codes and stuff for that by watching the show and hanging out. If you already have the game and you win it, you can either keep it, melt it if you want, or you could give me somebody else's name and we're happy to gift and get a new player in the game, which is usually my preference. But hey, all's fair, man. Enter away, make sure you do it, and we can gift them on your behalf. Or you can take it and keep the moolah and credit to buy some awesome spaceships when they become available. So you can get into that giveaway by !starter in chat. So many good things. Lots of awesomeness. Let's get into some questions and see what we got here. All right, we got a few here. Not a ton. And remember, if you do want to ask a question, we do have the few here. We do have the few.
I'm here.
Right up there.
Here. Hello.
He's got a little few, but it's there. It's ! questions to get more questions in if you want. We will probably put a cutoff if you don't ask them in the next 5 minutes. We don't want to keep Scorp up all night. Drones. All night. Drones F you. You can stay up all night. First question tonight is from Lucky13. Do you think we'll see more civilian vehicles than what we currently have? The Cyclone to me is a military-style vehicle, and the Grey Cat is a bit small. Thoughts?
I want to, but I don't think we're going to. I would love to see a lot more civilian stuff. I'd love to see just like casual cars, trucks, and ships, and just things that aren't so focused on combat.
Well, it depends how you define civilian, but I think we're going to see non-combat-y type vehicles, kind of, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, the Rover is already kind of non-combat-y. It still has a gun on it. It is relatively good at combat, but I think you'll see, like, science-y stuff, maybe, or, like, we don't know. Like, obviously, we already have a cargo variant of the Cyclone.
I'm still holding out for my taco truck. I don't care if it floats like Fifth Element or it's on the ground, but maybe both. That'd be cool. But yeah.
That big news delivery truck.
Yeah, I bet we don't see much more in the way of ground vehicles, specifically because, I mean, I don't know, like in the future, we've got spaceships, we've got trains, we've got who knows what we're going to have. I think the vehicles are kind of specific for like planetary outposts where you don't have the infrastructure there. So maybe in areas where they're not very populated or aren't cities, maybe there could be some more. I guess I'd buy that maybe.
We haven't seen a biome that accommodates them yet, right? I mean, because most of the cities are you drive to a city and the city have its own internal transportation system. We haven't seen a purpose for them. I mean, I guess you can just go drive out in the middle of nowhere, but we haven't seen a biome. Maybe as we get ArtCorp online, maybe as we get other things that have more like multiple cities on a planet and maybe have highways between them or something, maybe we'll see that come in. But right now, there's nothing. There's no environment for them, so I don't see it even in concept.
I could see like if you have like a science thing gets in the game a little bit more, where there's like a mobile lab, like where you don't have to like you want to like you land on the planet in a relatively good sized ship, and you want to go around the area and take samples. You don't have to run back to the ship every time you want to test it.
Absolutely.
Or see what
Yeah, I can see that, but they're going to be like, you know, forward deployed frontier type vehicles or military science type vehicles, but it's not going to be like
Pickup
cars
truck.
and trucks that drive on highways or anything like that.
Yeah,
right? It's going to be, yeah.
So no submarines.
Well, now you know. At one point,
I feel
somebody said ships were going to be able to go under the water.
That's right. They possibly could hold water and go underwater. I think what it is also you have to. It doesn't have to have that much gameplay in for the object right now, but it has to have a plan for some type of robust amount of gameplay to be put into the game, right? Like there's going to be some purpose for it down the road, and it doesn't have to be a lot, but like. You have to be able to use it for something, even if it's just cosmetic. But the way they're currently, what we've seen, their examples of designing cities and those things, I don't see a place for them to even be used it as a cosmetic fashion, right? For a lot of these things.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing. I mean, even if it doesn't have to have, it has to have purpose or it's not in the game. I don't believe in that. I like set pieces. I like things that kind of give you that customization of this is your character, or this could be an RP element, or it's just there for that. But if you don't have a place to even use it, I don't think they're going to invest a lot of time in it, because most people probably aren't going to buy it except for a niche group of people that like that thing.
Yeah, I agree.
So, all right. Next question. Commander Shepard asks, he says, with the rework on the Carrack, will it still haul 1,000 FCU?
Wait, did it say it was going to haul out that? Like, is that a metric?
I don't know.
I don't remember that metric.
That sounds like a lot of cargo for a non-cargo ship.
Considering I don't think it ever held 1,000 SCU. Considering the Caterpillar holds what 500 and. I think.
But also, I think
maybe,
they basically didn't. They basically seemed to imply that the specs weren't changing. So I don't see.
The Carrack does say 1,000 cargo capacity.
On
so
the website.
Yeah,
the website's
so I'm guessing
long,
the answer's.
So.
Well, it could be.
It might still.
But my guess is the answer's yes.
They haven't changed the specs, so if that's the case, then yeah.
Those pods, I mean, they may look smaller, but they're still humongous pods.
They might be counting the pods as part of that. Is the pods counted as the cargo area?
Absolutely. Yeah, because a lot of the old, pictures
that would make sense.
Stuff show them full of cargo.
So it's probably much like some of the changes out of the Earth things. You can choose those for cargo or something else and all that. That would make sense. Then I'd say yes. I'd say definitely yes, because those would probably be able to hold plenty of that. Is this episode of SpaceBro showed in final art? Absolutely, and it's been in final art since 2016. It's been great.
Wow.
Perfect. Zafiro says the MPUV Argo can fit in the Carrack now? Question mark.
No, it's too tall.
I wouldn't think so, because if you look at the size of the Merlin, I think it's too tall, because it's a very low roof closing there. It might have enough surface area to be wide enough for it, but I don't think you're gonna.
Yeah, the length and width are not bad. You could probably fit a lot of different ships in it. It's the height of that bay that is going to be the restricting factor.
Yeah. It's meant for a very low profile ship.
I still say you guys are playing will it fit incorrectly. It's not will it fit in that top hanger, it's will it fit in that bottom bay. Can we squeeze it in there?
Maybe, but considering we haven't been able to fit them inside the Starfarer, which is a huge doorway of bays and stuff like that, I still don't know how
The
that's...
Starfarer has those stupid tanks in the way.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a little more open.
I'm going to take
We're going to find out, that's for sure.
The Carrack is not going to hold 1,000 cargo. Sorry, the Caterpillar only has about half that much.
Yeah.
So the answer is no.
I'll go with no. I'm good with that.
There you go.
I think when they
I'm
wrote
not even
that,
mad about it.
They haven't changed that on the Carrack since the original concept. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. I can't read that name. Was it Metical maybe? But it's like spelled like metal. I'm pretty new to Star Citizen, but I was wondering if there will be talk about a hacking system in the game. Like the ability to hack onto ships, disable shields, or cut off radars and scans, or just opening doors or whatever. Absolutely, yeah.
There sure will.
Has
Sure
been
will.
talked about.
There's a whole hacking mini game. There's also different types of hacking as far as like you'd be able to break into ships with like possibly using like hacking like you're talking about, or physically, right? Because there's actually ways to crank open the doors through the safety stuff, or use a welder or a breach, or there's going to be a lot of different ways to do that. And disabling things, they haven't fully said. They've talked about those hacking missiles way back when, right? Where you might hit it with a missile and then kind of crack a code and get into stuff or disable something. But we haven't heard about that again. So we don't know like the whole hacking gameplay, like how they're going to do it, if it's only going to be internalized in the ship, if you're going to be able to access from the exterior of the ship or anything. But we do know they want it in the game. So the only other hacking that's verified is like data running hacking, right? Right now. That's the only one they've actually substantiated, saying you could like pick up a signal and hack it and steal the data. But Champion 7B, this question is for the few. Hi. Are you ready for your question, the few?
Yes.
All right. What are the limitations of your patent landing technique? Is what happened to the Orvis Horizon on Lear 3?
Wait, what? Lear? Wait, what? There's no Lear. Lear 3's not in the game yet. Wait, what?
He says, is that what happened to the, I think it's Orpheus Horizon on Lear 3?
I think, I don't think I was involved in that one, but maybe.
No
comment.
If it's on Wine Wednesday, it might have been. You never know.
No comment. The Javelin on Daymar would be another story.
There you go. Oh, think back to the Sandword demo? Okay.
Wait, okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
He's pulling out some lore out his butt that I'm like totally like, oh,
I'm just like, I'm like, what is this? I have no idea.
Don't you flex your brain pan on us, champion. Hold back there, buddy. All right. Star says, hi, I'm new to Star Citizen. Just turned in the stream, so apologies if it's a noob question. We love noob questions. That's fine. With Squadron 42 being a single-player campaign, is there any news about the MMO storyline? Well, the storyline is technically what you make it. While there'll be mission, like, trailed missions where you can develop a relationship with a mission giver, or it'll be a chain of missions that kind of inherently sets your rep. There is no set storyline for the main part. They'll have events. Think World of Warcraft, or think some of the other MMOs, where there's not necessarily a progression campaign for every character of like, this is the whole story of the game. Mm-hmm. But you can get into chains, you can get into event play, you can get into all sorts of stuff to create your own story. Your story is what they really want to highlight inside the game for each person. So that's the goal.
They did say later on down the line they want to do big, humongous story events in the game.
Like Vandal raided this moon, and you take your part in that, and there's stuff that happens and all that. But it's not like a traditional campaign as much like some of the other MMOs traditionally did, where you're in a little sandbox of this big universe and it's your own story. Squadron 42 makes up the story of like what happens before that, and then basically what's supposed to happen at the end of Squadron 42 is you're released into the game. But you don't have to play Squadron 42 to play Star Citizen. It's just one of those preludes to the game. So if that answers your question, I hope. Switch says, how many planets are planned in total? Oh my God. I don't know how many planets there are. I know 100 solar systems plus. So hundreds at least?
Yeah, I don't know. What's the average planets per solar system in the game?
I'd say minimum
4?
2 to 6. So probably 4 would be a safe average, maybe.
Yeah, so that would be 400, maybe.
Again, it's for us, it's ballpark, and that's not including moons. You have to consider right now we only have one landable planet in the game. There's 2 planets, but there's one landable planet right now in the game. Crusader, you can't land on because gas giant. So
that's also based on what they refer to as known solar systems.
Yeah. So
we don't know what's unknown.
And the moons, I mean, we already have, what do we have? 8 moons? Is there 8? I think so. I think there's 8 moons right now. So we got 9 orbital bodies that you can land on that are actually those. That include truck stops or stations and all that stuff. So the game is huge. The game will be built until it fails. and that could be 30 years from now. That's my hope.
And also, I guess before we can define how many planets are in Star Citizen, are we considering Pluto a planet or
moving on? No. Moving on.
That's right. I went there.
All right. This question's from Mitch, which I don't remember following a question, but we'll go with it. What are each of you most excited about that hasn't happened, that hasn't been implemented yet? So what's the thing you're most looking forward to right now in the state of the game? It could be way down the line, near whatever. But what are you most excited about that's not implemented yet that you're looking forward to seeing?
I got two things for that one: medical gameplay and all the grenade variants.
Okay.
Rock climbing. It's not announced yet, but I'm just hoping for it.
We'll make it happen.
Luke's gonna be the guy that they always did the flyover back in the old Star Citizen presentation days where they flew over and it's like, hi, it's like when they fly over the scene. That's gonna be him on the side of a mountain one time climbing using FOIP.
Yeah. That and land management outpost type gameplay I think would be really fun potentially. But all that entails the creative side of it. I want to be able to, I don't want to be just a consumer of the game. I want to be able to create in the game, whatever that is.
So the building, like with the Pioneer?
Yeah, maybe that, but just creating, like it would be cool to actually have to say, okay, well, we're gonna build a base that's gonna mine this. Well, how many power plant systems do we need? I'm not saying that's what this game's gonna be, but I think anything that kind of comes close to being creative in that regard of building a system to do something to accomplish a goal, it'd be fun.
Yep. Scorp, how about you?
I think exploration and I kind of want to try a little bounty hunting too. So I'm thinking exploration and bounty hunting.
Cool. Toy?
I'm just looking forward to when they finally get the docking stuff in, that, because that's really going to open up so much stuff to do. I mean, we don't even know, are we going to be able to dock multiple endeavors together and make a floating, stations, our own floating stations?
We don't know for sure, right?
Kraken, you can.
Kraken is I always think of the lake out here in Missouri where you can have party barge, Party Cove.
Yes.
Just pull all the pontoons together and tie them off and just have Kraken all the way down.
Yeah.
I'm curious what's going to happen when we have the Kraken, which has the landing decks on the top, and the landing decks, as you know, the gears lock to that, right? What happens when somebody gets the bright idea to flip a Kraken upside down on top of another Kraken and put it pad to pad?
Then you can't land there anymore.
Then you can do 3D football where you can jump from one pad.
I think the gravity generators.
Right.
I think the gravity generators from both ships and those docking surfaces would form a singularity, and then it'd open up a black hole.
That's how baby hammerheads are made.
Yeah,
maybe. That's how you make space wine, crushing. Okay.
Yeah. The thing for me that I'm probably most excited about in the game is, I got a couple of them obviously, but most exciting thing coming up still is going to be orgs actually implemented in the game where we could actually get with our friends. SpaceBros will just grow, and when we want to join things and stuff, it's just anybody in the org can just join. I can set it to org. You're just in there. You're good to go. Also, just large capital ship multi-crew gameplay where it's meaningful. It's not just you sitting in the gun. You can operate terminals. You can do those things, and we can work as a team and a unit to accomplish goals. That's what I'm waiting for. That's what I'm excited about, and just blowing really awesome big stuff up. It's gonna be really cool. I'm super excited about that. But all the gameplay elements, anything that supports multiple player gameplay where we can work as a unit, I'm 100% behind. I want the stupid consoles to do something again for the whole ship. I want the bridge to have meaning. Not hey, I'm on the bridge, you go on the gun, we're good.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Next question. Aliens asks, aliens? Yes is the answer. Next question. Champion 7B says, okay, real question for everyone. What are some of the game mechanics from other games, if any, that were done exceptionally well that we would like to see done similarly in Star Citizen. For example, for somebody who wanted to be a space janitor versus cleanup detail, did a good job. Probably too specific to Star Citizen. Okay, gotcha.
Wait.
Who said ooh the most? I think Drones.
Okay.
He said ooh the most, and Luke can go next.
I've been saying it for a long time, so I'm going to throw it out there again.
Go for it.
Hellion physics. Give me that. I would be astonished by that. Like, I want EVA to feel like EVA, not to feel like I'm a static entity just thrusting in a direction while I hold a key. I let go of the key, and suddenly everything stopped.
So you're talking about Hellion physics, but with like speed limitations, like the current kind of stuff that they got going on.
Why should there be speed limitation?
That's just the way they designed the game. I'm just saying.
I mean, within the realm of how fast can you get to, you know, whatever amount of thrust you have in one direction, I think you should continue moving in that direction. Realistically, what it comes down to for me is
so
I feel like if two ships are side by side, moving at 500 meters a second relative to whatever celestial they're nearby, side by side, not moving laterally at all.
Yeah,
I should be able to EVA between them, no problem.
Didn't they say you're supposed to be able to do that now?
Yeah, that's supposed to be in the game.
It doesn't work.
That's right, but that's their intention.
No, 100%. I agree with you. That hasn't. But intent. It's not the intent though. Is Hellion physics.
No. I'll tell you one thing. As much as I support everybody wanting to have their ideas in there, I will not get out a slide ruler to try to figure out my orbital path and all that crap. So
exactly.
I'm not a huge
Hellion
fan
doesn't
of
make you do that though. It does all that for you.
Yeah, I don't want to have that be part of the game for me. So.
I want Star Wars Galaxies crafting and mining mechanics. That was the best crafting system that still today that's ever been made.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I do like crafting, so I'm on board with a nice crafting like thing in the game. I'm not sure how far they're going to go in the idea of crafting in this game, but that could be fun. But for me, I like with like Zelda, like the latest Zelda, I can't remember what it's called, and then the
Breath of the Wild.
Thank you, Breath of the Wild, and then like Conan, Age of Conan or whatever. I like the endurance trying to climb up a wall, rock climbing. and then like have this sense of, oh, there's a rock here, I think I can hold on to the rock for some period of time and try to get to the top of it, and then make my way to the next rock and climb that. Like it adds so much, like where you could possibly fall and die, and like I don't know, there's saying I want to be able
that's
to
true
climb.
actually. Yeah, that's actually well done in Zelda. Yeah.
What do you think, Scorp? You got anything?
I don't play any of the games besides Star Citizen. No. So I actually, I actually would like to see some of the like the weapon modding and weapon attachments from something like an Escape from Tarkov or something like that. Yeah, that would be pretty.
That'd be cool. Absolutely. I was like, Scorp's like, I only play Star Citizen, so I'd just like them to implement their own game mechanics. That'd be great.
Right. Just make it work, please. Even more.
Everybody knows I'm going to say EVE Online stuff, but EVE Online stuff, I like, I really, even though I support CIG's idea for what they're going to do with interdiction mechanics, because I'm interested in the way they want to implement them, because it seems very interesting to me. I would like to see more of the EVE Online, which seems they've taken a small page out of their book anyway for their interdiction stuff, implemented in the game, where you can have scramblers and webs and stuff like that to hold ships in place, to reduce their pathing and stuff. So you can, like a small ship can sit there and try to orbit a hammerhead and try to keep him off of them, but he's penning him down until big ships can come and kill him. Those type of things would be really cool. Instead of an AoE interdiction or a bubble and those type of things, like what we see emanating from the NPCs now, like, hey, I'm just interdicting everything within, so many kilometers. Yeah. I want to see something where I have to maintain a beam on you or something to interdict you, to make it more challenging, and also giving the person who's being targeted a chance to destroy or stop the guy who's doing that. And then some of the other E-War mechanics, because we've talked about hacking a little bit, but I haven't really seen a real E-War metric for the game talked about yet in detail. I want to see jamming. I would love to see target jamming. Like you could actually have specialty ships or modules that would be able to point, and it'd be a non-lethal force type thing where I could jam your targeting. It'd be a great defensive weapon, as well as like if you have something like an Idris about to blow you up, maybe you could jam their targeting so that way he can't pinpoint you and just destroy your capitals or Endeavor or whatever. Those type of things.
Yeah,
cool.
but that would have to be super like balanced, because I think that would OP as hell.
It could be, and it'd have to be the size, signal strength versus that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you couldn't just perma jam somebody unless you had enough ships to do it, or a big enough ship or something. But those type of mechanics are what they use in there. Like the same thing. You can't just instantly jam any ship in EVE Online. You had to have the right signal strength and stuff. And I'd expect them to have some sort of mini gameplay for Star Citizen in order to do it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want push button anything in that.
Sure.
No.
All right. Next question from A Citizen says, what manufacturer do you think the Redeemer best fits under its redesign? Well, we don't know the redesign, so we can go after what it looks like kind of now. But what manufacturer do you think it'd fit better under?
A lot of people said MISC during the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
I was really feeling more like Anvil. I think it'd fit better Anvil than it does Aegis.
I don't know. At that front end, it kind of looks Crusader Industries to me.
Okay, I can see that.
I could go Crusader. I'd like to see a complete rework and it get thrown in the Drake category like everything else. I want to see it be like really boxy and industrial gunship. But that's me. Current design, though, I don't know. I don't think it fits anything. I think it fits like an outlier or something like Consolidated Outland. Like something weird, you know, it's like a one-off. They're like, oh, we wanted to get into the gunship market, so here we go. All right, next question from Falcos says, is the Retribution ship real, and do we ever think we will hear words of it in the future? It is an actual real ship. It is only in the story game as far as in major asset. I think they might put... Well, I don't want to put spoilers out there, but they might put some aspect of it in the MMO, but it's not a ship you can fly yourself or anything like that. It's a lore piece more than anything for the single player campaign. For the Retribution is the Dreadnought, is the king ship killer that was designed by multiple companies to blow stuff up.
We might see it more in like the second part or third part of Squadron 42, because that's when the Pegasus is supposed to be introduced.
Yeah.
Pegasus is going to be a badass ship.
Is the Pegasus slated as human flyable or viable? Oh, it is? Okay.
It is.
They've never sold it though, ever.
They've
in this
never
history.
sold it.
I don't know if they're going to sell it, are they? Like a 30+ aircraft carrier.
Yeah. It's smaller than the Bengal, though. The Pegasus was originally marked as the largest player purchasable carrier, is what it was supposed to be. But that could all change. I mean, this has been, a long time ago. But that was before the Kraken, too. So I don't know. I would like to see more carriers and stuff like that. But it didn't have, like, the orbital gun on it. It was mostly focused just as a carrier. That's it. It wasn't like a full city platform like a Bengal was. Are there any talk, this is from Ashto, are there any talk about black holes or wormholes?
Well, there's jump nodes, right? So those are kind of wormholey. As far as black holes go, yes, they actually did say something like that. I think in lore, and Champion probably knows all this stuff better, but in lore, there was something mentioned about a system that had black hole or something, and I thought, but maybe I'm misremembering.
There you go. I'll have to get Champion on the podcast sometime.
Yeah.
Big brain of knowledge. Let's see. Johnny asks, Johnny BR says, anything about Titan armor? P.S. First time on stream. Also, what a weird way to make questions. Okay, it seems to work. Your question got asked. anything about Titan armor? We haven't had any updates about the Titan armor exosuits that I've seen recently. I don't think it's slated or it's not on the production line as far as like we know at this point.
I think I've seen some concepts of it, and I think they're going to have like special ships for you to be in that thing just to get it out, because in any kind of suit like that, bigger than heavy armor, you're already scraping the head of almost every single doorway we have.
I can see you using the Valkyrie though. Like you wouldn't be able to sit in the seats; you'd have to stand in the back, as opposed to having a vehicle. Like you'd have 2 rows of Marines and like those exosuit type things, Titan armor, to do it. That would be cool. But yeah, we don't have a vehicle specifically for those, so it'd be interesting. Plus, I think those will probably start coming more in fruition when you see the Nova tank and those things, like heavier ground type stuff starting up. You know what I mean? Because right now, it's like there's nothing to fight over on the ground besides just poking sticks at each other for fun. And I think that'll come on in the next year or two. I think right now they're all focused on Squadron 42, and we can just do our emergent gameplay for now. 2 questions left. Zazamari says, is Squadron 42 still planned for multiple episodes to be released in blocks, or they sealed back to just one big game?
It's gonna be a big game, but it's gonna be a bit like, I don't want to like, I mean, from what we know, Squadron 42 is gonna be a big game, but I believe that there's still multiple big games. Like, I don't think it's like
it's still broken.
It's gonna be released in chapters, though.
Yeah, but Squadron 42 is its own game, right? And then there's gonna be another game sequel. We don't know what it's called yet.
3 major episodes. I believe there's 22 chapters or something in Squadron 42, something like that. Because
quite a few, yeah.
Because the way it works is there's, much like other games, I assume they're going to have like different missions you can take, but it's got the overall story arc of what you're going to be doing, right? But you have, if you go check out for the vertical slice, you can see like one mission. It's not even a full chapter. It's a mission from a chapter inside the game, and it's pretty, I mean, it's a good size to give you a sense of scale, but we know there's over 22 chapters of the game, if that makes sense.
But they're releasing, Squadron 42 is releasing chapters simultaneously.
Yes, all 22 chapters. Yeah, so that's the second version or the second episode is not going to be called Squadron 42.
Yeah, exactly.
It's then it's like, so they have planned for 3 separate full games and doing it that way.
Yeah. And in the third game, there will be Ewoks. And
then whatever's popular at the time in 22 years when the 3rd episode comes out, that's when they'll do that. So last question of the night, and this is from Sneaky. It says, is there a plan in the near future for full persistence with ships, armor, weapons, upgrades purchased with the game with in-game currency? Right now, it seems limited on what you can work on with these updates, every few months wiping all your hard-earned progression away.
Chris Roberts discussed this on his Road to Release segment at CitizenCon, where he wants it so, this game is still alpha, and until they get all the gameplay features in, which there's tons and tons of them.
We're just now starting to get some in.
But he wants to keep people playing, and he understands that people don't want to stay in a game when it gets wiped every quarter. You know what I mean? So that's what his Road to Release was discussing, how he wants to get away from needing to wipe the economy every quarter, but still maintain their, we're still not released game.
Yeah, so persistence is the ultimate goal before they can go to a beta or soft launch. And once they hit beta state, they'll probably do a couple refreshes maybe to balance economy things. But yeah, the overall goal is everything you're in game, you're supposed to be able to keep. As long as you maintain it and do all that stuff. Everything, if you lose it in game, then you lose it, obviously. But if you have insurance, your ship will be the exact same ship as if you paid cash for a pledge package. If you get a Carrack inside the game, and you buy it for in-game money only, it will be no less value than anything else, and it will be persistent. That's exactly how it's supposed to work. They're not trying to like say, oh, you buy it for cash now is the only way you keep anything. They don't want that, but they are going to wipe and reset all and balance all the monies and everything, every build until they get to that stage of the game. That's just how testing works. So that's why I always try to gauge myself too. I test out the things, I get enough money to do what I want to do, but if we're nearing a new release, I don't go crazy on it, right? Because if you earn like 30-40 million in the game and it gets wiped, that can be kind of discouraging for you. It's like, but yeah, get what you need. Don't go crazy. Don't burn yourself out. Obviously, have fun with your friends and just keep enjoying the new releases. That's what I say. All right, guys. I think that's all we got for tonight for this episode anyway. So sorry for the late start. We obviously tried some new things. We had more numbers to the podcast and stuff and doing all that, but I appreciate you all being here. It's been a good episode. I'll let everybody get out here and get some rest and do all those things. I'm going to come back on, so we're going to take a brief break, and then we'll come right back on, and I'm going to get on some Star Citizen and have some fun. So if you have more questions, if you want to hang out, whatever, please join me. Toy will be on a little bit later, and then the rest of the guys will be on Saturday. We'll probably all try to hang out, play together some when we can, and I don't know, do something cool in the verse.
Awesome.
Sounds
guys.
good.
Cool.
I'm exhilarated. It's going to be good. All right, guys. So we'll see you later. Have a great night. Love your faces. Bye, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.
Hi-de-ho.
I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Yeah.
Later.